live stream hand wavium.
We're live. Excellent. Cool. Awesome. I don't know why it's been doing that. We've been having duplicate stream key issues. I've been trying to fix it. I've also got to get the bot up as well, and then I'm good to go. But how have your guys' weeks been? Obviously, you've been joining me on and off.
Yeah, going all right, thank you, mate. Just having fun in my new ship.
Yes.
New ship?
He picked up. I'll let him speak for himself.
Okay.
Yeah, I grabbed the CAR, and have very rapidly fallen in love with it. It's great.
Well, it's a good place to clean up after a love session. It's all very clinical, so I think you'll be safe there, Badgers. Yes.
I don't know why I talk on these streams anymore. Great.
I just remind you that we love you.
Yes.
Oh my God.
What's wrong?
I just fell in love with something I saw on the RSI site.
Yep. Well, settle down. Settle down.
I'm sorry.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. It's obviously live, but yeah, we're obviously gonna have a look at ISC because everyone's like, for the last 2 hours, we get messages like, "Oh, did you know ISC on the Galaxy?" So yeah. Right. So the bot is live. So if you do want to check your questions in, we have them. Let me double check. Start. Yes, starting bot. Cool. Bot is going. Right. With that, yeah, what do you guys want to go over first? We're going to watch IFC, obviously, but I want to get a few people here before we start. So what are you pointing at, Nikki?
Oh, that's what I want to talk about. That looks amazing.
Yep. Well, we're going to go over it. I haven't watched it. I deliberately didn't watch it because we do this all live, so don't spoil anything for me.
Wait, could this be the ship that gets Badgers to stop talking about the Perseus?
No.
Oh, damn it.
We live in hope.
Absolutely not.
Bloody hell.
How dare you use such language near me?
Yeah.
That's just rude. No, I think from what we've seen, and obviously having not seen ISC myself yet, two very different focuses, and my love for the Perseus is based very much off the fact that it's a combat ship.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say anything about the Perseus because everyone in here knows exactly what I think about the Perseus.
Yeah, 100%. So, maybe I should bring up the RSI site and we'll have a look at that then. Where is it? Just on the front page, I'm assuming?
No, it wasn't. I had to scroll down.
Scroll
like
down,
a little bit.
Scroll down. Inside
yeah, right there.
Yep, okay. All right, well, I'll flick it over so everyone else can see. And apparently got this. So it's a big-ass video, and that's it. Yeah. But this, I'm going to be honest, this is the same image we've had for weeks. It's literally just higher resolution. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we will watch that in a moment. As I said, I just want to get a few more people in because otherwise people miss it. So, yeah. Apparently, the Perseus is trash, according to...
Wait. Who said that?
Lord Hollington on...
There is no law against being wrong.
Yeah, there is. There's no rule about being right either.
It's all a matter of opinion.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Your opinion can be wrong.
To those in the United States. That's from Video Child. But yeah, we had lots of Thanksgiving warm wishes and that. We don't celebrate ourselves, but Nikki, you do out of all of us here, and you might have to disappear because of that. That's totally fine if you have to. But yeah.
They are important. They showed up, all of them.
Yeah, just to, I can't speak for Badgers because I don't know the UK as well as Australia, but here in Australia, Christmas Day is kind of bundled in with Thanksgiving. From what I've learned from Space Tomato and Paul and all the other American people I know, it seems to be that the Thanksgiving is the really big family holiday where we're, say in Australia, for example, it's kind of merged in and Christmas is our big family one. What's it like for you in the UK, Badgers? Is it the same thing? Or?
At the risk of being oddly political, which is a change for me, I grant you, you know, we didn't steal this country from any indigenous peoples, so we don't have to do Thanksgiving.
Right. Okay.
We're in the clear.
Yeah. So you're.
I'm kidding. No, it's not a UK thing. I'd say it's definitely not a Great British thing. I don't want to speak for the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, but
so it's like Australia then. So it's just Christmas is your big thing.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly not something I've ever known to be celebrated here. It's not something that we get cards for or anything like that. Any sort of public holiday. It's just not a thing for us.
Yeah.
Execute. I even heard recently that they don't even have a public holiday for the Queen's birthday.
Well, not anymore.
They'd have President's Day or something.
I mean, because we got a king now.
Yeah.
Yes, but do you have a public holiday for his birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So what we do, it's not necessarily a nominated day, but you have 1 day of leave a year. Certainly for us in the civil service, we have 1 day of leave a year that we can take at any time, and that is the Queen's Birth.
All right, so I'm going to try something different this time. Algared and I talked about it. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to record it like Paul does live, and we're going to record our reactions and release this as a separate segment. So this will be something new that we've never done before. So just prepare yourselves for that. But we are then going to go straight into ISC. What was the question?
I got a question then.
Yep.
So if you're going to record us live, does that mean you're going to be hitting the stop button, pause button a lot for us? All right.
No. I will be stopping and talking. Yeah, if you want to talk, just talk, and I'll try and pause it. That is 100% what we can do. Obviously, if it's a really pivotal moment, try and shut your mouth. But other than that, if there's something you have a thought on, just speak up.
Or raise your hand and say, give you.
That's what I was thinking.
I can't see your hands in the video, right?
Good point.
All right.
Yeah,
I feel like there needs to be a warning for interrupters, but it's not these people.
Yeah. It'll be everyone. All right, so I'm switching you guys over. So can you guys see the browser now?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Make it big.
All right, so just I'll do a little intro, and then we'll go straight into it. All right, so here we go. G'day and welcome to Inforunners. I'm joined by Batgirl, Algared, and Badgers, and this is going to be our reactions of the RSI Galaxy ISC. So here we go. Kicking it over. Here we go.
Multi-role ships in the persistent universe, by their very nature of the name, give you that flexibility.
They're intended to let you experience almost every part of the game. You can change between deciding to go off to a random planet and do some cargo missions, to changing your mind and decide to do bounty hunting and bringing a bounty back and put them in your hold.
So now, as we're on the verge of getting into more lawless systems like Pyro, I think multi-role is a great advantage to have, because you don't know what's lurking around the corner and you'll be able to react to whatever comes at you.
And that's why we're introducing the Constellation's big brother, the RSI Galaxy. The RSI Galaxy is a multi-role vessel with true modularity.
Alrighty, holy crap. Is that a whole module, guys? Or is that individual modules just your first thought?
Don't know. We'll find out in just a second. Keep playing, I guess.
Look how big that hangar is. Holy shit. All right, keep playing.
It has different sections of the middle of the ship that can be changed out to support significant and real gameplay loops.
It is built on the same kind of ethos as the Connie, but it's scaled up to a larger crew size.
The Galaxy has a very industrial feel compared to previous iterations, and the Constellation's a prime example. It has far less...
So that's a good image.
It's not it taking, the saddlebags out of a prospect.
So that's the refinery module that they talked about.
Yeah,
that was leaked. But the other thing is this image shows you the scale of it.
Bloody big.
It's not a small ship.
It's 3 prospectors long, at least.
Well, they talked about it having large crew as opposed to a Connie. So we're talking...
6 is the crew size, Algared, that's been leaked.
I was only going on what they said.
Yep, that's fine.
Looks like it's about four lengths of it.
Yeah. So that makes it, if I'm not mistaken, at least 90 meters long. I could be wrong on that, but at least 90.
What's that, Carrack size?
A a
Just slightly shorter than
a carrack is 128 meters. The largest, like the metric of the hangar for those ships is 130. So if it's 90, it will be in the same hangar, but it will have more room. But I'm thinking it's bigger than that. I'm saying it's at least, because look at the prospector there in the image. You put one behind it and then maybe two in front of it. It could be 4 long, and if it's 4 long, that makes it 120 meters. So I could be. That's just rough math, right?
Less for
I'd guess around 120.
Yeah.
focus on its combat capabilities.
It's not a warship, so it's not bristling with guns, but it's got what it needs. We were just going for a ship that when you saw it, it just looked like you want to just get to.
Someone's saying S4
Oh,
turrets.
all right, that's big.
Well, that tells us the size of a hangar.
Yeah, someone's saying S4. It's size 5s, by the way. They've already stated that. Man, I'm in love. I don't want to spend more money.
You did say execute earlier in the week that you know you had a feeling that they would bring out another ship you were going to have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it's
So
outside,
nice.
so I'm already in.
I'm
in that zone.
if this is so technically speaking, if that is a tiny one, so essentially if it's like, you know how the 890 jump has 2 tinies, if it's a tiny, it's not going to be that expensive. But if it is literally a small, which is aka Polaris Odyssey, that literally puts the price up to that same mark as them. But I'm getting the feeling, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a tiny hangar because of the prices. Now, what are your thoughts?
Look on the sides of it.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts? Tiny or small?
Tiny.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be.
I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking inside it to see, and I think it's a tiny. The width of it, I don't think it's going to fit something bigger than that.
Yes. So the interesting,
Definitely an Aurora, definitely this.
So the interesting about that is that there is like it gets a little bit from all these different ships. Like it gets one of the pads from the 890 jump. It gets a bit of the Caterpillar stuff. It gets a bit of Carrack stuff. Like it is unique because it's borrowing from so many different things. I really like that. All right. Some people in chat reckons it's small. Yeah. Okay. We probably need to start calling pads based on their number because they actually have size 1 through to 6. So I'm literally don't quote me on this, but I think it's a size 2 is what I'm trying to say, because you got the ones that you have at a landing pad, like a vehicle one, and then you got the one up where you can get the smaller fighters and the smaller ships and stuff like that. So you could technically get an Aurora in this. So it's kind of like one step up from a Carrack is probably the easiest way.
Does it look like it will fit a cutter?
No, cutter goes into small, not tiny. So
Okay.
we need one day we need to sit down and actually start talking about size 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 6, because it's very confusing for those that because there is an internal and an external naming convention, and that's why it's so confusing.
If I expect, but from a look of that it's the same size hangar as the Carrack has, and the Carrack hangar you can physically get an Aurora in there comfortably sitting properly. So
I think you could physically fit it in there. I don't think you can spawn it in there though. But hey, we'll wait and see.
What I'm looking at is that back bulkhead. If you look in there, there's a bulkhead. It's not going back that far. I think it's just about the length of this ship.
That's a door there. You know, one of the the Caterpillar hexagonal doors. That's what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. I'm loving it.
Together with your friends, get that thing off the ground, turn it around, and just fly as far as you can.
For me, I think the favourite thing about the Galaxy is just the look of it, in conjunction with the layout. It does keep that classic RSI sort of sub-capital shape to it.
It's even got an Aegis thing going on here. If you've seen the top of the Eclipse, it's got a similar thing on there. Interesting. I don't know. All right.
We've got the nice big exposed engines with we're starting to bring like metal onto the engines, like a kind of a titanium material to complement the kind of cooler greys and blacks of the rest of the superstructure.
For me, RSI goes into kind of 2 different groups. You've got the slightly kind of more bulbous shaped ships, and then you've got this really aggressive arrow-headed kind of stance. And I think for me, the Galaxy kind of really falls into that arrow-shaped kind of, driving the ship forward.
I think I'll just point out that's a different skin. So
yes. It is also, there's only 2 of those arrowhead ships as opposed.
Yeah.
So am I right in that the cockpit looks Like they just pulled the Connie cockpit and attached it to it?
Yeah, there's a few little less struts, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of you would agree that it borrows heavily from all the other... Like, I can see everything in this ship, as in all our other RSIs. Like, I see the Perseus, I see the Polaris, I see the Connie.
The Apollo.
I even see the Mantis, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, you can see, I see the Mantis just on that picture from the white wing kind of bit. You can almost see that that length of the Mantis kind of there.
And the engine pods definitely look like the Connies if you look at them closely.
Badgers, do you see all that too, or is it still put too much Perseus for you?
No, it's there's common design language in all of them. I can see in the bridge Mantis and Connie certainly. It's they've got the RSI design language down pat, according to this.
Real quick military question then. They're all remote turrets. Is that a strength or a weakness for you?
Pass.
Not sure.
Yeah.
To be determined. Okay.
Well, I think turrets are in such flux at the minute. Strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, not having people in the turrets, you can, if someone targets your turret specifically to disable you, it means you haven't got some squishy human being sat in the middle of that turret, and all they're taking out is the turret and not a turret plus one crew. The downside of that is that if, and judging by the bridge image we saw a little while ago, this might be the case, as in the deck plan, that if everyone's sat in the same place, that's also a weakness. If a fire breaks out in that compartment, or it starts to take damage, loses atmosphere, whatever, all your squishies are in the same place. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really.
Yep. All right.
The interior architecture of the RSI brand is something that I really enjoy because it's got those nice upturned classic sci-fi walls that sort of canter in at the top. And it is a bit of a challenge designing those because it means they need a bit more room inside the vessel. So you just got to make sure you've got a bit more space. But when you've got a bigger ship like the Galaxy, there's enough room in there to get your accommodation for your 6 players, all your functional habitation and recreation and all your kind of crew positions and everything. There's enough room to do that and have these cool extra wide corridors with a nice architecture.
Starting at the bridge, it's a central bridge that looks down onto the main part of the ship.
Wow.
That's a very nice bridge.
Wow. And they said 6 players.
Yep.
So 6, crew of 6?
So the leaks were correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like that.
Yep.
Directly behind that.
Sorry, Algared?
I said I do like that. And the modularity could, given the way we're talking about the living quarters and all that, I reckon this would be, if there's an exploration module, this kills the Aquila.
There isn't one from the leaks.
Because it.
Yeah. I'm just saying there isn't one from the leaks, though, so don't hold your breath. All right, here we go.
But that would be just because of the living amenities versus the Aquilas, which I expect will be updated at some point anyway. So
agreed.
In the top deck, you have the habitation section. So you'll have a shared habitation space, and then moving further back, you have individual bedrooms, as well as the captain having their own office as well as bedroom. Behind that, you have the engineering section that looks down onto the hangar area. And it's probably one of my favourite parts of the ship, because it has a nice look down onto the actual hangar, which is a rear-loading hangar, which is really cool in my opinion. The floor beneath that is where the module is, within the centre of the ship. It's
Actually, I've just realised, unlike all the other ships we've seen, this is, as you said, this is a rear-loading hangar. All the other ships are top-loading. That's interesting.
Yep.
That's a really interesting fish. Yeah. Wonder what benefits that will bring. We'll put it this way. If you're flying forward, you could fly and catch up to it. You don't have to kind of fly up and go down. So you could technically catch up and be at moving while this lands. You don't have to stop to get in, which is a huge advantage.
It's also the ship providing you cover as you land.
Yep, that's true.
Space for the different modules you might need. And directly connecting to the module section, there's the hangar.
There it is.
So the 3 modules that are available are a cargo module, which increases the cargo capacity of the ship significantly.
There's a refinery module, which is, it's got a sweet mechanism with the underneath where the cargo ramp opens, and we've got the saddlebag deposit. So this thing's going to work really well with something like a prospector.
And then the last one is a medical module.
The medical module is split into two halves. So in the very center, there's a lift that'll bring you up. So if there's anyone injured in a vehicle, you can get them straight into the actual medical wings. Alternatively, you can use the hangar at the back.
Is awesome.
So
that's a lot of beds.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
So I'd have to assume they're tier 3 beds, so it's essentially it rivals the Apollo. Because see how it's 3 on this side and then 2 on this side? That means it is...
And then one to the left of your cursor?
Yeah, what is that?
I would possibly say...
Well, let's see what they say, and then...
Say 1, 2 2s, and 3 3s would be
that's
a bare minimum, but let's see what they say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
To fly someone in and unload them into the actual galaxy. Inside the actual medical wing, you have an assortment of different tiered med beds for whatever injury the person might have sustained.
So it looks like what I just heard there, and you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong here, is these are fixed, so you can't swap them like you can on other ones. So it comes with 1 1, 2 2s, and 3 3s, but you can't swap them out. Because listen to what he says:
1 3, 2 2s, and 3 1s.
No, it's the opposite, Nikki. Threes are the lowest tier, and 1's the highest tier.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Med beds for whatever injury the person might have sustained.
I didn't go for
Which is weird.
Hang on, I didn't go.
Because the injuries are tier 3, but the bed that you need is a tier 1.
Yeah, they're actually opposite, and that's the problem.
That's
they released
crazy.
it. Yeah, and they don't want to retroactively fix it, but they need to.
An assortment of different tiered med beds for whatever injury the person might.
Yeah, so he's an assortment of different tiered med beds, but it doesn't. He doesn't say if they're swappable. But let's hope they make them swappable.
Sustained. Although it's been a while since we've showed off a modular ship or released any new ships that were modular, it isn't something that we wanted to move away from. Modular ships have a unique place in the universe because it helps push the multi-crew and multi-role ship. It's part of the reason why there's been less emphasis on multi-role ships in the universe recently. Now that we're getting closer to being able to deliver it, it's something we want to start revisiting again.
So does that mean we're going to get more modular ships that are better than this in the future? I've got to ask that question.
I've got to make a comment based on...
Are we working?
Happy Boyington has said in chat.
Mm.
Endeavour killer. You take that back. That is heresy. You are in the Church of Endeavour and the cult of a crucible. That is... I'm horrified, Pappy. Horrified.
Cult of the Endeavour. Okay. Anyway. So back to my original question. Do you think that means we'll get more modular ships in the future?
Yes.
I'm hoping they just fix the modular ships we already have.
Mm.
Yeah. Because they're up for a
get the Carrack. Yeah.
I think that's what he's in the middle of saying.
Yep.
Is that they've focused away from it.
And now
because the tech's been so far, and obviously the fact that this is coming back out now means that they are getting closer to modular. That this is coming back.
Let's see what he has to say.
The RSI Galaxy is perfect for a group of friends who want to be able to try lots of different aspects of the game and not limit themselves to one individual part, who one day might decide that them and all their friends are going to go out and do a load of mining and refining, making lots of money from gathering resources. But then the next day might decide that they want to do some cargo hauling across the verse, so they go from one system to another, transporting huge amounts of goods. The next day they might decide that them and their friends want to have a battle, so they need someone to be able to hear people. It's a ship that allows them to experience the most of the game without limiting themselves.
Well, that kind of tells you right there how big it is.
And thank you, Walker Bait, for that.
Yeah, it's like
$10 coffee voucher.
2.5 times the size of a Connie.
Yep.
I'd say
volume-wise, not length.
Yeah. So if you look at it on the pad, that pad is essentially the metric to 130 meters. So it is literally Carrack and Caterpillar sized.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. So I still think the Carrack is a better ship, personally, like looking at it on paper. So I'm now expecting between Caterpillar and Carrack. Like, it's the same as what I said before.
So it depends on where it falls the price,
Well,
right?
it also depends on the modules. If they sell it on their own without modules, you know, and then $100 per module, it still goes up to $650. So, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. This is where my initial thoughts are. I don't need a cargo ship. I don't need a refinery ship, and I don't need a medical ship because I've got those all already. This is my personal thing I'm talking about here, right? So for me, I can technically pass on this, but it looks amazing. So yeah.
I don't want to pass.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah,
I'm going to need your help.
Yeah,
I'm going to need your help on my fleet.
I hate it because the enablers are going to make me want to buy it, and I don't need any help in that regard.
Yeah, Badgers, what about you, man? Easy pass for you, or you?
I think it's definitely not a torpedo bomber.
It's not a Perseus.
It's really weird because, you know, the thing that kind of, I'll just come out and say it, grips my shit about stuff like this is that people see that it might have some modularity or some function that makes it similar to another ship, and instantly the response is, oh, it's an Endeavour killer, it's an Apollo killer, it's a this, that, the other killer. And it's just like, clearly they're not going to invalidate the other ships that they sell because they still want to sell those ships alongside this one. This fits a really nice niche. This is I don't know if I want to do refining, cargo, or medical.
Yep.
Well, you don't need to buy 3 ships now. You buy 1.
Yeah.
And you earn the modules however you earn the modules.
Yep.
And you play it in game.
So the interesting...
You know, it's a...
So where the ship lands then is it is essentially the large medical ship and it's the large refinery ship. Yep. So we now have a partner to the Expanse, and we now have the last link in the chain for the medical ship.
Yep.
Right. So
honestly.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
And I think with the medical module, it will be. I don't think they're going to be changeable beds. I think it's going to be the 3 3s, 2 2s, 1 1.
Again, it's concept. It may change, but I think you're right. Yep.
Because that way it doesn't tread too much on the Apollo's toes, which can change out the modules, but it's also not as good as
Endeavour.
Endeavour, which can do multiple ones. I'm assuming. So
same thing. Same thing for the refinery, because that refinery, there'll be a bigger ship than that, and there'll be a smaller ship than that between it and the Expanse. So they all fit. I think the thing that the massive draw card here is that's weird though is you guys correct me if I'm wrong, right? And this is and I'm talking purely statistics here. People that are into medical aren't necessarily going to be into refinery. They're kind of a bit separated more than most professions. Like where refining and cargo are a lot closer, you know, where I think medical and refinery are a lot further apart. So I do find that those choices, they're very interesting.
I think this works for me because I play with people that are into all of those things. So for me to want to go play with one of my friends that's out in a mole,
and that's what I meant.
In a prospector.
That's what I meant statistically, though. Like they are further away than most other professions. Like for example, if it was refining and mining,
it would make sense.
It would make a lot more sense. And cargo,
but they're making a miner this size, aren't they?
They are, but you get what I'm trying to say. They're just a bit separated.
I got you.
And the cargo one's very generic, and so that for me is the kind of most least interesting one.
So how many SCU?
They did have a list of it. It was like 500 and something. It was 500. It's under the cat above the cat.
It carries 32 SCU standard. That's the back bit.
And then it was like 500.
And then 480 in the module, which combines to 512.
That's it. That's what I was trying to.
So it's more than the carrack, less than the cat.
So it's slightly more than a. Yes, that's exactly correct. Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's continue.
The RSI Galaxy is the newest concept ship making its debut at this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and you'll get your chance to learn even more about it during RSI Day this Saturday, November 26th. But the Galaxy isn't the only rumored vehicle to arrive at this year's event. Anvil Day brought with it the brand new C-8R Pisces, the space ambulance that some requested and many others never knew they quite wanted. Let's find out more as this IAE ISC continues.
The C-8R is a new entry medical level vehicle. It's a variant of the well-loved Pisces.
We decided to make it a little bit faster than the regular Pisces, just so you can get to emergencies just that little bit quicker, slightly better for someone surviving. We have had to remove a little bit of the range. It's no longer a exploration ship like the regular C8 and the C8X, so it cannot jump quite as far as they can.
That goes along with what I said earlier when we were doing the buyer's guide, Batgirl. So yeah.
Added
Too
some
much
siren
to
lights,
lose.
so people can see when you're coming. We've also given it a traditional medical colouring, so we've gone for a nice little red and white.
The C8R is a variant of the Pisces, so it benefits from the paints that exist for the Pisces itself can be used on that, and the reverse is also true. So some of the more medical themed paints can also be put on the base one, which I'm sure people will find various interesting ways of using and misusing.
That looks like someone I know.
We have
What
gone
the hell is
for
that?
a very clean style on the inside. When you step in through the ramp, you'll notice that there is some of the decontamination ports towards the bottom of the
Oh, there
area.
they are.
There's then a large frosted glass door that will open up. We have, off to the right, a tier 3 medical bed. And off to the left, we've got some storage. We've got a fridge for you that's stocked up with a couple of meds for you when you get the ship. We've had to remove one of the jump seats that came with the regular C8. However, that's been replaced with the medical terminal.
It's also a great partner to the Carrack, which obviously has a tier 2 medical bed. So now Carrack owners can use C8Rs as sort of a advanced medical scout to be able to ferry injured people back for further treatment.
I can see people using it for going out to bunker missions, just getting out there, doing all the murdering that they do, getting all the stuff back into Pisces, and then making sure that any nicks, cuts, grazes, or broken arms that they've got fixed before they move on to the next location.
The C8R is obviously for those sort of players who want to support other players in the game. It's never going to win a combat fight. It doesn't have the durability to last in engaged combat. But it is there primarily and almost solely to...
So there's a big advantage to the ship going into caves. That is a huge strength above the cutter. I never thought of that until they just showed it there then.
Also,
wait,
they
what?
lie. I killed a Guardius in this earlier today.
There you go.
Good players or NPCs and keep them alive long enough to get them to somewhere to heal more severe injuries.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that special...
I just want to say that sign, every time I read it, it says, "What dick did we learn?" I
Yeah,
always
it
see
does, like,
dick.
yep,
I don't see
yep.
what did we learn. I see what dick every time. Anyway.
Yes,
vehicle
that was my first
will
impression.
always have their place in the persistent universe, but that a more rounded, multi-role experience might just be what's needed out there in the less civilized regions. That the galaxy isn't just the Connie's big brother, but a return of player-facing modularity and potential harbinger for that system's future development. And that the new C8R Medical Pisces isn't just a standalone ambulance, but a solid addition to any ship with a hangar that can support it. Now, if you watched last week's Star Citizen Live IAE 2952 Super Talk Spectacular, you might have heard me mention about us finally pulling the curtain back on the Polaris internal layout rework this week. And here's where we have sort of a good news and bad news type situation. The bad news is that the shortened Thanksgiving holiday this week means we weren't quite able to get that going where we wanted it to be for this show. But the good news is that we'll have plenty of time to explore the new Polaris concept layout next episode. So hopefully with even a more in-depth look than we would have managed this week. So stay tuned for that. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate, and we'll see you all here next week.
So, how much did the Polaris grow?
Do
we know that yet?
Let's talk about that in a minute. We've got to wrap up the rest
All
of
right,
this
good.
first. So, those of you that are on YouTube watching this after the fact, thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap up here. We're actually in the middle of a live stream, so that's just been our live reactions of that. If you want to follow us, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe, ring the notification bell and all that jazz. And if you want to go the extra mile on Patreon, or come join us live, like all the people in chat, 100+ people. So yeah. All right. With that, what would you like to hear in the comments below from people? Algared, what would you like to hear?
What do you think in terms of the modularity of this ship? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Are the different pods that dissimilar, or do they actually encourage other people to come in and use the ship? Will it enhance sales or take them away?
We will be doing a first impressions video too, by the way, Algared. So yeah. Badgers, anything you'd like to hear from people in the comments below? You're muted.
Yay. Where do people think the STAR-R sits in relation to the Cutty Red?
Yep. Good question, Batgirl.
Yep.
How do you think this fits alongside the Apollo?
That's a good question too. Both ships, actually. I think they all got in the whole medical trees there now. There's 5 of them, which is more than I was expecting. So yeah, I was only expecting 4. So yeah, cool. All right, with that then, she's been Batgirl, he's been Badgers, he's been Algared, I've been Execute, and we'll catch you in the next one. Back to the live show. All right, cool. Now continue what you were saying, Batgirl.
Right.
Yep.
How much did the Polaris grow? Does anyone know?
So basically, they metric the hangar to be the same as the Odyssey. So before it was it was like a bespoke size, and you could technically fit like I think the largest ship we worked out was like a Banu Defender or a Sabre, a Terrapin fit, stuff like that. But now it's to metrics; it's slightly larger, and I think they also said they added a medical bay. Is that what you remember, Algared and Badgers, from memory? There was something about a medical bay going in, or am I completely off the mark?
No, I heard medical bay.
Yeah,
I thought it always had the medical bay, but that's not me. But
yeah, maybe.
But certainly they made the hangar so it was the same size as the Odyssey. So
I'm very, very interested in that episode. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Like you were saying, Batgirl, staying strong. I can pass on that Galaxy, because when I sit here and put my kind of fix my fleet hat on, I look at the roles and I go, well, I've already got the Endeavour. I would rather buy a capital refinery ship than the large one, and then the cargo ship. Well, I've got a Banner Merchantman, so you know, and I can that whole earn down thing for me. I can technically stay strong. It's really hard, but it is an awesome ship. Don't get me wrong; it is a really awesome ship.
Are you going to swing the video back to us?
It is on us. Oh shish! I haven't done it on your side. Everyone else can still see your ugly mugs. Don't worry. It's
all right. Good. That's great. So
for you guys, there you go.
So what I think,
I know what's going on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, what I think is that this is right in that wheelhouse of things I do. I like the medical gameplay a lot. Like it's something I didn't even think I was going to like, and I enjoy it. I do like to run cargo, and I have a lot of friends that are miners, and having something I could just throw that refinery module into and go help them makes sense. Otherwise, I don't know how a refinery is going to be working in our world. You know, right now you leave things for a day, 2 days at a time inside of a refinery to get you best price. So what's that going to mean for us having a refinery ship? So I'd have to see how that works. Yep. But it's a pretty ship. Dan, the one thing that drives me nuts is that RSI is usually not working with the other, like they're trying to set their name apart, but yet here's a ship that they show an anvil going into, and they didn't create their own little mini ambulance or something for their ship, or go to Kruger, you know?
And thank you, Phase Kitten, for becoming one of our basic members on YouTube. Woohoo!
Thank you.
But in answer to that comment about RSI not working with other manufacturers, the Constellation, they work with Kruger to have their snub fighters. So they actually do that. It's just not that we see it. You know, we don't kind of consider it like that. It's so yeah. But I look at the modularity of that ship, and I think for me it just seems to say this is a ship that actually will, because it has the options to do those things, like you were saying. It gives an owner the ability to say, did I want to do this? Did I want to do that? Did I want to do this? Without necessarily having to change whole ships. But it also means that I can work with, if I'm just a medical person, but I don't want a big ship, I can do that. If I'm a miner or a refiner, I can have one that's set up for that. So my thought is, even if you just buy it with just one module, it will enhance sales because it can reach out to so many people. Whereas some ships are just like the Apollo, for example. You'll only ever really get that if you're a medic. You wouldn't get that if you're a refiner. So
to add to that, Algared, also being such a bigger modular ship, like I'm trying to see, like I know we've got the Carrack and stuff like that, but I think for me the other part of the modularity is it seems to be that it's the entire center of the ship that swaps. Where, say, we look at the Carrack, it's 4 separate little inner modules. The Carrack Caterpillar, 4 separate little individual modules. Such a big module, essentially revolutionizing the entire ship when it's changed. That's unique. We haven't seen, like we've seen it in smaller ships, so the Vanguard, but we haven't seen it in something this size. So it is radically
it is closer
different.
to a buck, isn't it? It's closer.
Yeah, in a weird term of phrase, it like they could have made more money by making 3 separate ships. They really could have.
Is the Vanguard still modular? I thought it was separate ships now.
I've just realized all your videos.
Yeah, we're all frozen.
That's right. I'll try and fix it on my end.
Yeah.
It's your end.
So what was that about? You've gone again. Yeah, it's working again. What was the question? Sorry, about the variants of ships. Someone said something.
No, I was saying, is the Vanguard still modular? I thought they did away with that.
So it's got a pod that can be swapped out.
Okay.
Yeah. So the pod comes out, and so you have the default variant, the Warden, that comes out, and you can put the They are all basically the same ship, but you can, but the outside changes. So if you have the Harbinger, it's got more armor. And there's a different one with the Sentinel, and there's a different one with the Warden. I can't remember the two between the Warden and the Sentinel, but there is difference. But at the end of the day, most people concluded you get the Harbinger and just buy the bucks, or so that because then you get the armor. But
and I could see people doing the same thing with this, buying one and buying the modules. And that'll be the question. I think when we were postulating this a while ago, it was the idea that they'd sell one and have almost a complete package, like they did with the Endeavour. And I could see them do it. I can really see that being the case, that we've got the 3 modules. So, or selling them as pre-configured variants as well. So, yes, Pappy, the Vanguard is yuck. Yes, we agree.
Well, no, see, it's weird coming from Pappy, who gushed about the Vanguard for about 3 years.
He's in good company. That's exactly what Sear did. He loved the Vanguard, and he's gone right off it. So
it's a de facto bounty hunting ship now. I mean, it's like one of the top tier. Still good.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh boy, I'm liking this. Looks nice. How useful.
Well, as Pappy said, I need to. It's a must. Thank you for being an enabler, Pappy. I'll just say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Questions? Or do you want to actually... Because we are going to do an impressions video, obviously, on the RSI, but we'll obviously leave that until that actually comes out on Saturday USA time. Badgers, are you cool to come on for that one? Doing impressions?
Possibly. We'll see when we get closer.
Okay, cool. Algared, I'll get you on for that one as well. I do think we'll actually join. This is just to entice you, Badgers, by Space Tomato. He's getting over his sickness, so hopefully see if we can get him to join us, because he wasn't able to make the other stuff.
Get well soon, brother.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would say with modular ships is that if CIG balance it right, dedicated ship, modular ship, jack of all trade ship, in terms of their efficiency and what they're capable of doing. Because if you ask the question one way, it makes sense. If you ask the question another way, it doesn't. That question is, why would you take the modular ship? Well, it might not be as efficient as the dedicated one, but I can do multiple things with it. It's just going to take longer while I switch the modules out.
Yep.
And the question doesn't work the other way around. If the modular is more efficient than the dedicated, the question's, well, why would I take the dedicated? There's no answer to that because you wouldn't.
Yep.
Unless, we're down to like, well, it's the specifics of design. I love the way it looks. I love this bit on it or whatever. And again, why would I take the jack of all trades when it's less effective than the modular or the dedicated ship? Well, because you can do multiple things at once. You don't have to muck around waiting for the module to be switched out, which could take hours. That could switch into days, depending on what ship you're talking about.
No different than the F-18 in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, you look at. Yeah, do you know what? American attack aircraft are a really good example because loads of them are capable of doing ground support. But if you ask troops on the ground which aircraft they want overhead, it's the A-10, which only does ground support.
No, that's not true.
Well, I mean, as opposed to what?
I mean, that's like the story that we're told all the time. The actual troops on the ground don't look for the A-10.
I can tell you right now, we actually have people that are military people, not just badges that's in the UK. We have a lot of, and I'm guaranteeing I've been in a room full of them, and they've told me exactly what Badges said is correct.
Oh, I just saw a documentary on the actual truth of it.
I can only tell you the word of mouth that I've heard it from people that exist. So I'm going to go with Badges on that.
What you lose with because the A-10 rides low and slow, you lose the ability to effectively engage ground troops without loosing massive ordnance. So an F-18 can drop a 500-pounder, 1,000-pounder into a compound full of troops. But that's one effect, and you either miss or you hit. It's effective or it's not. Whereas the A-10 provides such a psychological boost for your friendly troops and terror for your enemies because they're just waiting to hear that cannon when it spins up. Even the sound of it, I've known people talk of engagements where just the sound of the cannon was enough to have people turn tail and run.
Yep.
They didn't hit anything, didn't matter though.
I heard similar things in World War II about the Gurkhas. When people knew the Gurkhas were there, they turned tail and ran because they had such a fearsome reputation as a troop.
Yep. We dropped the story in the Falklands that when a Gurkha draws his blade, he must draw blood. So we spread the story that had all these cuts on their arms because every time they drew the blade, they had to basically draw blood on their own arm to justify drawing the blade.
I was thinking
psyops for the win.
They said that the Gurkhas were coming and the Argentinians they were gone. Yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah, nope. That's enough of that. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
All right. First question is from Devil Dog. By the way, we'll be doing this stream until questions dry up or we hit the 3-hour mark. So yeah, it's up to you guys how long this runs for now. So hit us with your questions, statements, comments, and all that. If you preference your question or statement with just question, our bot will pick it up and chuck it out to Discord so we can see it. All right, with that then, first question is from Devil Dog. Question, I have your thoughts about using the Perseus for asymmetric warfare. I think I've got to throw that to you, Badges. Asymmetric warfare. What is that, firstly?
Yes, if you want to know... I'll give you the short answer because otherwise I could go on for hours literally on this thing. Go and have a look at ships like the Graf Spee, the Tirpitz, the Bismarck. I forget. There's the other one name who always escapes me. They were commerce raiders, and the idea was to counter the submarine threat. Allied shipping was put together in convoys to protect them because it was safety in numbers. That is absolutely the opposite of what you want when a ship with whopping great guns comes steaming over the horizon because it's faster than you and can destroy you at leisure. Sorry, X.
Like in Greyhound?
Exactly that.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry. Good movie, by the way.
That.
You recommended it to me.
Yes.
It's a great movie. I liked it. It was really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. It's proper. It resonates on a lot of different levels. Not that I ever ran convoys in World War II, but there's a lot of stuff in there that makes sense.
You're not that old.
Yeah, you look so young.
Moisturize.
Yeah.
Look, I figure if I just keep getting fatter, there can't be any wrinkles because everything is constantly stretching.
Just
He's
silicone.
Doctor Who.
like,
he's really Doctor Who. He's gone back in time, you know. He's
forever youthful, just sort of by me. But yeah,
young.
Asymmetric
and
warfare.
I think that's where
Can you tell?
the Perseus can do the fleet stuff fine. I don't think anyone quarrels with its place in a fleet. Put amongst your enemy supply lines is why I'm really excited for the Perseus, because I think it can do some real damage. And when you look at what your opponent needs to deploy to neutralize it in its own backline, you're basically forcing your opponent to use far greater resources to tackle one asset. And if you can let loose multiple, then that's even better. But yeah, it's a force multiplier for you. It's a force divisor for them.
I've got to ask Badgers, because I this is just me. Can you explain what he meant by the term asymmetric warfare?
Sure.
What is that?
So asymmetric warfare is the idea of using forces that are not directly matched. So symmetric warfare would have been the Cold War. It would have been American tank division facing off against Russian tank brigades and all that sort of, everything's got a direct counter.
Yep.
Asymmetric warfare, the most obvious example I can use was the USS Cole out in Yemen, where a dinghy with a guy with just basically a cardboard box full of explosives. It was a little bit more advanced than that, but not by much. It might not have been made of cardboard. Slammed itself into the side of the Cole, killed an unsettling number of US sailors, and took the ship completely out of action. You didn't need to build a warship to fight a warship. You needed a dinghy and a decent amount of explosive. And that's asymmetric warfare, taking something that your opponent is not trained to fight, not necessarily aware of in the beginning of these sorts of things, and being able to deal large amounts of damage very, very quickly. Asymmetric warfare.
So having something like a battleship go up against a convoy would be really bad for the convoy, because it's going to munch the convoy up at leisure.
All right.
Sorry, go.
You got any more to add? Because I'm going to move on if you got.
That's it. Yeah, no.
Cool. Right.
Sorry, it took longer than I expected.
No, it's totally fine, and I appreciate the explanation. The only reason I asked that is Buzz69 dropped a question, but then forgot to put question in the tagline. So he's jumped the queue. Did they at any point specifically tell you how they'll be able to swap modules? Generally, it will be possible in-game in some kind of dock, or is it just reconfigured like you change ship names like on the website? They actually didn't state how modules were swapped in it, did they? So I would go out on a limb, and you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think it's a shipyard swap, much like the Endeavour or some of the other ships, yeah?
Even if it's not a shipyard a shipyard swap, and it's in the hangar, it's going to take time.
Agreed.
Easy for you to say.
Actually, technically speaking, it could be done in the hangar. He is right. Because bigger ships like the Endeavour and stuff can't dock, so they need a ship dock to swap it over. That is a good point, Algared. If they have some kind of tractor beam in the hangar, it could all be done in hangar. That is true.
It'll still take time.
Isn't it just that lower center part of the ship? So it would be something that you could lower.
Well, it looks like it looks like it's pulled out. It looks like the hangar comes out, and then the whole thing.
Hangar's part of it. The hangar's part of a ship. It's under the hangar.
It's underneath.
It's on the lower deck.
Just the ones
third deck.
The ones they showed on the leaks though looked like the whole thing pulled out from the back. And if I'm not going to go back to the video now, but in the video, if you look at the sections they highlighted, as in the levels, it looked like the whole thing went out the back. But I could be wrong, right? So I think I'll just put it. I'll put it down to this, Algared, that we don't know yet. I'll leave it at that.
When we see the brochure on Saturday.
It was the third deck though, so whether it goes out the back or it's lowered down, it's irrelevant. But it's the third deck.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think that is a part of it. Like Algared said, if it goes out the bottom, well, that definitely makes it harder to swap it in a hangar. But then again, you also ask if they pull the whole thing out the back. So I'm now leaning a lot more towards the ship dock idea personally. So yeah.
X, just while I drop a 2 cents in here. Retina Bonus says you're a bit quiet compared to the others, a bit hard of hearing, needing to change the volume for you a lot. Just a heads up.
Me?
Apparently.
Yes, apparently so.
What about...
that's in YouTube chat, last comment.
All right, well, I just turned myself up a notch. Now let me know if I'm too loud. Sorry about that.
Awesome.
There's a really weird thing with YouTube, and you guys can attest to this from the videos we've done. Sometimes, like, we all sound perfectly the same, especially when we're talking with each other, and then when it comes to the recording, it just goes all out all over the place. It happened to you too, Batgirl, didn't it? We had the same thing in an audio test, but for some reason in the video she just sounded heaps louder than everyone else. So it does go the other way as well, and it's just not something that we can correct, because you check the audio and everyone's tipping to the same place, but then when it gets in YouTube, the algorithm seems to just do its own thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That one seems to have fixed it, mate. They're saying you sound good.
Cool.
Atlas Gaming says perfect. So cool.
And my video's blurry, apparently.
Well, that's just because that Algared's got a bit of lag, whereas that's common. All right, Aguado, question. Do you guys see a Valkyrie medical? I think it makes a lot of sense for extractions. I think I'll add to that because when we were doing the Pisces stuff, someone said someone said it today, and a variant of the MSR and a variant of the Terrapin as well. But specifically to this gentleman's question, to Aguado, Valkyrie as a medical. With an ambulance in it, maybe? I could see that, like a special... So you know where the troops... you know where the troops area is? You know, if you converted that area to a medical area, and then you could... some kind of ground-based vehicle that can drive into it. So what's the biggest it could have? Like a Rover or something? Or we could even go bigger. I don't know. But, you know, something that can drive... I could see that, actually, if they wanted to. But by the same token, wouldn't they take the opportunity to sell
I don't think you need it.
You could sell a whole new ship. And I agree with Nikki.
Yeah,
I didn't hear what you said, Nikki.
I say I don't think you need it. You already have the medevac version of the Apollo, and that would be flying alongside of them.
Yeah. And the Apollo is basically your mobile clinic, which you land and set up. So,
so what do you? The way I'm thinking his question is coming from is, you know how they're talking about the Pisces and the Carrack working together, a ground, well, I'm assuming based off his question, is a ground version of that. So it drives into the location, picks someone's up, drives back, and then this picks that up and off it goes, right? So you could, I don't know if that's how he meant his question, but that's how I visualized it. I can see that. I can see it.
I've got to agree completely with Batgirl. At the moment, it's just not justified, because at the moment, if you've got a tier 2, tier 3 does nothing for you. So there's no point. You actually makes more sense dragging more bodies into the back of or having more people in the back of just a normal C8X.
Yep.
Because you can fit more people in it, because the medbed's not giving you anything. And I think Eduardo's right. The Valk, in common sense terms, looks great for that. I was laughing earlier, not at what you were saying, X. I just had this image of, because it's got the 2 doors, you've got injured in and then healed out, and you've just got this constant like conveyor belt of people going in, going, oh, Doc, coming out the other side, right, ready to go again, let's go.
Yeah, so no turret, it's just a nurse there like jabbing people.
Yeah, and I think, if people get downed with a tier 1, and this is just, for an example, this is not confirmed in any way, shape, or form, but if, let's say, you have tier 1 injuries and you're down, maybe that gives you a much less lengthy survival time than tier 2 and tier 3, and then maybe putting someone of tier 1 or 2 into a tier 3 medbed extends that time for them. Now you're making a use case for, my tier 3 is useful, and all of a sudden you've just justified the Cutty Red again, because, who cares what ship it turns up in as long as you're getting a tier 3 medbed.
Yeah. As long as you're stabilizing,
so maybe that would work.
Continuing to expire.
Yeah.
Yep. Really quickly, with the Galaxy, Lord Hollington on Twitch has a really good comment there that I totally forgot. I did hear it in the video, but I forgot, and it's really important. Meaning the Galaxy is doing what I was just saying the Valkyrie do, is the Galaxy has a lift for vehicles in the medical module. It literally brings them right up directly into the thing. So I think that heavily says that we will be getting a medical ambulance. I think that this is no fucking brainer. In fact, I'll throw it out there. What if the Lynx had a variant that was a medical one?
I think the only question on that is, from what I saw of the picture with the MPUV, that door behind it was actually lower than an MPUV. So the question on the ramp, because they said you got a ramp for stretchers. If you haven't got the headroom, that obviously doesn't become a vehicle ramp.
In the medical one, though, if you look, you could see there was an area where rails came up and it had like a square area. I literally just think it's a lift that goes straight down to the floor, to the ground, and just comes straight up and brings whatever.
No issue with that. My question is, when it comes up, how much headroom does it have when that ramp closes? Is it all the way, or are they going to put an artificial ceiling in to stop you effectively using the medical module as an impromptu vehicle carrier?
Like to take a Nova Tonk or whatever.
The hand wavium, you cannot do this.
So I think we'll agree it'll be sized to fit whatever vehicle they want you to use. So I would say a rover, like an Ursa rover at least.
I thought from the lift idea they were talking being able to bring the stretchers up straight in, not a vehicle straight up. That was my hearing, but
okay. Well, again, we can wait till RSI day and hopefully we get more information. But from what I took of it, it looked like an elevator to me. We know the cargo module has an elevator, so it's not a hop, skip, and a jump to connect those dots. And therefore, the refinery module's the only one that doesn't have the elevator. And in return, as we saw in the image, it has the tractor beam. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. It's kind of a step across. You can see the 3 different points of it.
Yeah, I thought with the medical, when they were talking lifts, I just got the image of the Shepherd drone type usage from the Apollo. But again, we'll just have to wait and see because it's first looks.
Yep, that's
it. Sorry to jump in there again. I'm going to go through chat and try and fix it. It looks like Streambot stopped because the last message we have is 22 minutes old. Unless I'm not seeing something.
Okay, let me try again.
I'll find the last comment and then
2
paste them
seconds.
across.
2 seconds. Oh no, it has because I've closed the bot in the background like an idiot. That's my fault. That's 100% on me. All right, let's restarting it. Don't worry, your questions will not be missed. It will go back and suck through everything it hasn't sucked. That's a really bad way of saying it, but that is what it'll do. All right.
T-Jack came back. He just said they said you can get into the medical bay via a lift or through the back rear hangar. So again, it's yes, we're not disputing that. We're just wondering how that effectively works. Whether it's a small personal lift, whether it's a vehicle lift, whether it's a and that's what we'll have to wait and see. So we're not arguing that aspect, T-Jack. We're
talking about it landed on the ground, that lift would work. Definitely with an ambulance. Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, getting an ambulance to work with that would be great.
Well, it's something me and Badgers have talked about a lot before is like emergency services vehicles, like even things like a fire truck. Like it's definitely going to be a thing on the ground, but you don't necessarily need a fire truck in space because you just vent the atmosphere. But then again, one of the ones me and Badgers talked about, remember, was it the air, the resealing the ship type thing? Badgers, what did we call that? The was it repressurization? Is that what it was?
Yeah, repressurizing the hull.
Yeah.
Yeah. We looked at a couple of options. Is that sealed modules around the engines, like the Hammerhead sorely needs, would be great because it goes on fire. You just go vent the module. Everyone can stand outside it, going, "Oh, that looks really cold now," and seal it up again. Let it come back up to temp, and then off you go again, or at least affect repairs. It was, I think, when we were looking at the raft, we were looking at the types of ships that might be able to repressurize the hull to get people out who have compromised.
That's right. I remember now.
Oxygen suits.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's where the idea came from. I remember it was when we were talking about that. You're 100% right. All right. Next question. Rooster101 asks, do you think the Galaxy and its modules is their way of dealing with the backlog of larger ships if they were to give them loaners? I kind of was thinking that myself before, actually. I'm like, yeah, if we've got all these ships to do, if we chuck a whole bunch of them together, then we don't have to make as many large ships. I wonder. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So is this potentially in production?
They've definitely at least done the outside, right? And I've often theorized, because I said it's just kind of weird that they've got the Polaris, the Perseus, and this now all on the roadmap, and they all, like, especially there's some similarities between all three of those. They could essentially work on all three, make the app. So let's just take it for example. Say they make a door. They can make 3 different variants of the doors, or mix and match them, and then basically use one on each of them. Right? It's the same thing with the wall panels. They can take a wall panel on one that they use on the other, and mix and match. So we know they do that already. It's just doing it all at the same time. So it's not like I made one this and then wait, 2 years and then I use it again. If you're doing all 3 at exactly the same time, it speeds it up again. So to me, it makes a lot of sense that they could crank all 3 of these out fairly quickly. And I'll chuck it back to you guys, but I think that outside looks pretty polished. I know it's not, they haven't done the insides obviously, but it showed it in engine. We don't often see exteriors in engine, right? We get a holo viewer or something like that. We put it this way: we didn't get an exterior of the Spirit, yet we know that's now in production. So I throw that back to you guys. To me, it seems further along. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it seems that way. So yeah, don't get your hopes up.
Do you think we might see at least the shell of it at RSI Day?
It's confirmed to be in the HoloViewer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shows how much attention I've paid.
But will it be a low, like some of the ships are really low detail on the HoloView and others are much better?
Yep.
Where's that going to fall?
And I think that's kind of got something to do with the time. So obviously much older ships were kind of just kit bashed together. This one's probably been in development for 12 months or however long they've taken on it. So yeah.
And thank you, Phase Kitten, for the caffeine donation. As you can see, I'm now out.
I'm out as well. So yeah.
So we will enjoy some good caffeine. And if you're after some good caffeine, let me suggest a good geisha. Good geisha blend coffee is silky
wow.
smooth.
I thought you were endorsing prostitution there for a second. I was like, what the hell is he on about? Yeah.
No, the geisha variety bean.
Is that right?
Really floral flavors, really silky smooth. Oh man, it is the bomb.
Algared, you need to do like a members only stream, which is just like Algared after hours or something like that. Just
Plus ASMR, the way he's saying.
The most expensive coffee I've come across is a geisha blend from it was around $1,000 or more a kilo.
And the next question, please.
So. Yeah. Moving right along, says Batgirl. Yep. All right. Excuse me. Cynic.
Sorry, I was just saying if we ever get to meet up at CitizenCon, and I really hope we do, Algared, mate, me and you have got to get drunk because I got a feeling you got some stories there, my friend.
He does.
I know we talked about this before.
I did ply one of the guys in the org when we went to a bar citizen in Canberra some geisha coffee, and he was wired for the next 24, 48 hours. It was rather funny, but yeah.
Just lying in bed. I can't close my eyes. Ah!
he was off partying all night. It was weird. It was, yeah.
Some rabbit hole, huh?
Yeah, it was a rabbit hole.
All right, Cynic asked question. You think this will be worked out on, or after the Polaris and Perseus was one of the modules, or on modularity is worked is Retaliator Caterpillar? So I actually think, I don't know, you guys tell me, I think this could potentially be the test bed for modularity, but the other thing is, wouldn't they start with a smaller module? Wouldn't they start, because on the roadmap they have the M50 for the engine swap. So that seems the logical place to start.
I was under the impression that their modularity test bed was going to be the Retaliator.
Yes.
It may be that now, but as I said, initially at the start of the year on the roadmap they had the M50 module.
Okay.
So that was just for the engine.
Yes, but if you think about it, Algared, that's you start small and work your way up.
But it's very similar.
Yep.
But I could also see like this, because it's not, if you do the cat and you'd start doing modules, you've got to go, we've got 4 sections, so that makes it more work. If you do the carrot, you've got 3 sections. If you do a javelin, you've got 6 sections. If you do an endeavor, you've got all the modules to take care as well. This, because it's one module for the ship. It's actually, in a sense, a smaller job. Even though it's a bigger unit, it's a smaller job.
Yep.
In a sense.
Yeah. And the first part of your question there we kind of already answered. But Badgers, you're going to say?
Yeah, literally that. I think, if you do it on a new platform, you shed any of the problems you may have inadvertently built in, I guess, to the other one. But yeah, I got to say, same as Batgirl, I thought the Retaliator was going to be the testbed for this stuff. So I think that might have indicated that something's changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Elaborate on the change. What's changed? Sorry, did I miss something there while I was trying to reach in the background?
Because my understanding too was that the Retaliator was going to be the testbed for modularity.
Okay.
If this is going to be it instead, then maybe there's some sort of legacy problem that's going to take longer working with the Retaliator, and that's why they've changed their mind. Maybe there's something deeper seated with all the modular ships. I don't know, and I don't want to start like that down that rabbit hole. But yes, I guess what I'm saying is I agree with Batgirl. My understanding was tally first, and that's now not the case. Or doesn't seem to be the case.
And the tally fell off, right? The tally fell off the roadmap, right? It was there for a tiny bit, and now it's gone. So I know it's getting a rework, like the whole interior. Well, not whole. Most of the interior is getting reworked.
Yeah. So that was really so the first sign we saw of that was the door, because you could tell the door didn't line up with because when you remember they said that the door was initially on the floor and then they moved it to the wall, but as soon as you put it on the wall, you go looked at the outside was on an angle, so it's like, oh well, they got to redo the whole exterior again. And then when they've done that, they've gone, well, let's just bring the whole thing up to its gold pass. I think that's what they've done. They've just gone stuff it. Yeah, let's bring the whole thing up to its gold pass. We can then probably use it as modularity, as you guys have alluded to, but I think it's still M50 first, because it just shows that they can get the basics of the system down and then move into something more complicated like the Retaliator. I 100% agree with you. I just think the M50 is slightly in front of that because it's small and a coder can work on that on his own, essentially, because it's basically just an object swap. It's not, in a couple of lines of code to say how it works.
Right.
Sorry?
We say that. We say that, and then they start it, and then they go down a rabbit hole.
And it gets more complicated, every time.
And I'm more confident in them building one from scratch for more modularity, whatever. So if they did this one, right, if this was it, I'd be more confident that they would be able to work it out than trying to go back and fix one of the ships we already have, right? The Vanguard was supposed to be easy. Just drop a box and put a different one on there, and we still, do we see that in the game yet?
Sorry.
The simplest form.
Yeah. What sometimes we think is going to be really simple.
Yeah.
And they may think it's really simple. They go and go, oh yeah, we'll just change this line of code. Oh crap, no, we can't do that.
Right, and the character is built
until you do it.
Yeah. Sorry to talk over you.
No, it's fine.
But the character's built for it. It has those 3 modules underneath. All they have to do is just build 3 other modules and drop them and pick the other ones up, and we still don't have that. So there has to be something else stopping them from doing this.
Yep. All right. Next question. Aurelius Indominus asks question: what price do you think now the Galaxy will be? My answer is the same as I've kind of initially started with. I think it's anywhere from $350 to $650, and I think modules definitely have to play a part in it. Right? It just makes so much logical sense. You look at every other ship they've sold it with had modules. So I look at it like the Endeavour, right? So I think the base price will probably be a little higher than the Caterpillar, which is $330. So I'm going to start at $350, and then I think if you add $100 for every module, it then can take it up to $650. So there could be a pack where you get the ship and all 3 modules for $650. Batgirl, your thoughts?
We have a ship that they just introduced, the Spirit, right? They have 3 different modules. So if we look at what their price and schemata is for that, we can come up with it. So if you say it's $350, what was the percentage increase for each one of the different versions?
That's
where you're going to go, with the medical probably being the highest, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's a really hard one to ascertain. Is the cargo module worth $25, but the medical's worth $100? It's really hard to ascertain.
What's the refinery worth?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, do they literally just make them equal because they're basically roughly the same size? So, do they keep it versatile like that, where it's like you can buy the ship for $350, and then any module you want to pick up, you just pick it up, and it costs you $100?
Or is it like the Endeavour, where you got some modules that are really expensive, and most of them are just $30, $40, $50, or $100, and then.
And do they let you buy it in a bundle and they take $50 off the top, so it's $600 instead of $650? You know, things like that. And I think we'll all agree here. You can all tell me I'm wrong, but I think you just get the base variant and earn the modules in game, like we tend to recommend with most modular things. Does anyone think any different to that? No,
but I can see them. Okay. I can see them selling each module separately and having a master pack type.
Well, I think it might be like, back to the Endeavour, Algared, with the Discovery and the Hope and all that. So they have the different names, and I'd even throw it out there, Algared, now skins are a thing. They may have different skins for them. So I could see a red Pisces as the medical, and whatever other colours for the other ones. So you correct me if I'm wrong, and don't get me wrong, there are going to be skins out the arse for this ship. At least I call it now, at least 3 or 4 tomorrow. But you correct me if Badgers, what do you think, skins wise? Is that a thing, or is it just going to be the one like the Perseus?
Well, I think in effect we've seen 2 already, right? And that would be, so we've seen the base one, we've seen the one that's got the lighter top sides.
Yep.
And the hull seems to be a different color to the base as well.
Yep.
So I think, you'll see a concierge skin with this, definitely. Because it's just that size. Why wouldn't you? Milk us whales a little bit more.
Yep. I love how he now calls himself a whale. It's great. Yeah.
I just want to point out that when I put up my 2 fingers, I did do them like this, so I didn't offend Badgers.
No. That's right. They were just high enough. I was like, wait. It's okay. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
No, thanks.
I didn't notice, though.
I just saying.
I thought,
but it makes
the spirit. I thought they confirmed that not being modular, or have I missed something?
No,
I'm
it's
probably out of date with my info.
No, it's not modular, but the thing is, it really should be. But I was getting back to the skins. That's what the reason I said 4 is exactly what you pointed out. 1 for each variant, and then 1 for the concierge. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm expecting tomorrow.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay.
Not tomorrow, Saturday. Get me.
I could even see them having the same skins they've got for the CAR for the whatever the medical module version of that is. So you could actually match it with your C8R.
Oh, Badger's big red and yellow stripes. He's in. He hates that skin. He hates it so much.
No, that skin is honking.
Yeah, I want that.
Do they still release it early?
Yeah.
Do they still release it early for the concierge?
They've kind of stopped doing that because it kind of tips the hat to leakers. But again, now it's announced. You could be right. We could be seeing this 24 hours early for concierge. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah. Real quick.
One other thing I saw pointed out though, and I want to bring it up. Do we have time?
I just wanted to answer this guy's question, and then we can come back to it. Good. 4/4 has a really good one. Loner for the Galaxy. Now, for me, my brain went straight to Starfarer and Apollo. Eventually, well, I know the Apollo isn't in game yet, but the Starfarer is. But I assume the Apollo would become before this, because it was on the roadmap, remember, and then they took it off. So I'm assuming the Apollo is going to come first. So eventually, it would be Apollo, Starfarer. But right now, definitely Starfarer. You guys,
Starfarer and a Cutlass Red at the present.
Yeah, I agree with Algared. Starfarer and Cutlass Red is what I'd give as loners for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or possibly a C8R.
Yep. Or all 3.
So, or all 3. They've done similar things.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Badgers?
I go Cuddy Red. I wouldn't necessarily go the Starfarer. I might go another
you know why?
Cargo ship.
You know why I picked Starfarer though? Because it's cargo and refinery. That's why I picked it. There's no other refinery right now. Do you give him you wouldn't give him mining?
Sorry, that sounds a lot more exciting than it actually is. Yeah. It's not a beer.
Yeah. Is it Iron Brew? No? Or what's it called? Is it Iron Brew? Is that what they call it? I've been told so much about this drink, and I want to try it. Every time I go to buy it, Dr. Pepper. It's like $60 to get a 6-pack to Australia. It's freaking mental. I just want to try it so I know what's going on, but yeah, I can't get a hold of it.
I will do my best to get some to you at a cheap rate. But
well, it's really awkward
you're
when
either gonna
SA contact me is like, I want to send you something. I've got to get something to you. I'm like, is he sending me a bee? You know, like that ticks.
You may need to refresh my camera again, X, because
will do.
I'm still running on Ninja and the rest of it, but I've disappeared. So
yep, I'll fix you up right now.
Don't worry, I don't have a simp. The Advent Man is a mate of mine from One Para Armor Group. So, hey, buddy, I'm famous now.
Yeah. All right, back to your question. Sorry, Batgirl, that we kind of really long-windedly went around. You've totally forgotten. Sorry.
No, I was trolling through while you guys were talking, looking at what the Reddit threads were saying.
Yep.
Now, in the past, Jared was very specific when he said, "Oh, and it's now in production," and it wasn't. So a lot of people are saying that means you could be looking at 2 years. And he said it for each one of the different ships that were in production, like the Spirit. So
yep. And
it might be a pay for him to get this.
I agree with that. There's very few ships that have come under 12 months. I think the quickest one we've ever seen is the Scorpius. And that was about 14 months, right? But let's look back to, say, the Mercury Star Runner. That was just over 2 years. So I think the exception to that for this would be the fact that they're doing all the other Polaris ships.
Yeah.
Next year.
I could see this being done concurrently with the Polaris and the Nautilus because of the shape language.
You mean Perseus, but I get you.
Yeah, the Perseus and but you know what I mean.
I got you. Yep.
But yeah.
All right, next question. Stove S asks, do you think that they will make the next mining ship available to fit inside of it? No. No way. That next mining ship is gargantuan. It's literally designed to land on the same size pad as this. So
the question might be, would this ship fit inside the miner?
yeah. Well, no, they're the same size essentially. To add to what you just said a minute ago, this ship, as in the mining vehicle, could be made alongside these ones as well. So that's actually 4 RSI ships that could essentially be made at the same time. You see what I mean? I was like, it's all stacking up. It makes sense. It's just, and whatever year it is, so say it's next year or the year after, whenever they all arrive, that will be the RSI AIE sale, 100%, because they'll just be dropping heaps of them at the same time.
They will be the sponsors of the IAE.
Yep,
that year,
100%.
I think.
Yep.
That sounds like next year.
If it lines up with the release of Squadron 42, it makes a lot of sense. But they've also said, what did they say? 2024. It's at least 2 years away. So, ironically, 2 years to make the ships. I think it kind of lines up. Correct me if you think I'm wrong.
At least that's what they're possibly hoping.
Yeah, so next year...
It would make sense.
Yeah, so next year maybe we can go back and look at other concepts from last year, and we can see what's coming next year.
Well, I do have some inside information that I can give out because it's no longer inside.
Yep.
So there is going to be a 11 to 12 month beta for it.
Mm-hmm.
So those ships would have to be out for the beta, which would be next year.
Okay. I'm interested. Yeah.
Okay,
makes sense.
And I only know this because when they thought it was coming out a couple of years ago, they were going to do a launch party in Manchester for the beta, and that just didn't happen.
Yep.
Interesting.
So it's very
very
possible.
A couple of years ago, they were looking at, I know Sandy and Chris and the family.
Yeah, you know what I know.
Yep.
So would you say that the launch will be at LA, as in the official big launch, but the 12 months before that, it might be in, say, Frankfurt or Manchester or something like that?
I think it's going to be Manchester because that's where most of the people are. It makes sense to do it there because you have Chris living there now, you have Jared, and you have a lot of the team there.
So what you're saying,
Frankfurt isn't right.
So what you're saying is Badgers needs to go down to IKEA and buy some bunk beds. Yes, we're coming over, Badgers.
We'll have a fundraiser.
Oh, you can just buy a cot and you can sleep in that. Me and Algared to take your bed. That's totally fine. Whatever works for you, mate. Yeah.
I'll stay with Chris.
Badgers is just not saying anything. He's just, okay, fine. No comment. All right. Monster Avery asks, think 6 crew will be for the base, or we'll need to go higher for the modules. I would agree with that statement. I think you may need to go higher for the modules, especially the medical. Like they had offices and stuff all around the outside. So I wonder if when you put in a module like that, does it give extra living, like slightly extra living quarters for say it adds extra 2 crew? Do they actually get extra 2 beds in that module? And say the refinery might have only 1 extra or whatever. So yeah. Cool. I don't know. Your guys' thoughts on that? We've lost.
The answer is no.
Yeah. Your guys' thoughts there, or
I've got to be with Algared. On that way.
Yeah.
Gotta stop inverting my cameras. Like I get used to it one way, and then I come back and it's like, whatever.
It's because Batgirl was down there the other day. Batgirl, have you gone, or are you coming back? She's covered up her camera. I don't know. So she's obviously talking to someone in private. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, so is that it for that question? You want to move on, or it was about the extra people in the module? Yeah.
I think 6 is likely. I don't think you need more for cargo. I don't think you need more for refining. Medical might be the only place it's at a stretch. But again, I think that's if they've got any rest beds, maybe they work like that. But I would guess 6.
Looking at that module, assuming that it's 3 3s, 2 2s, and 1 1, it didn't look like it had any rest beds, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Next question from Parker says, "Is there a module you'd rather have in the galaxy, like a science or a mobile missile production?"
Good question.
Production, no, because I don't think we.
The really interesting one for me is they mentioned weaponry in the leaks. There was no weaponry module. Not to any way near shape or form or anything. There was no armory, no extra gun thing, nothing. So that was completely misconstrued. Or maybe there was one in the files and they just decided against it and removed it at the last minute. We don't know. The other thing I'll put out there is they didn't have the refinery module in the leaks. They had the if I got it backwards, they had the medical. They had they did have a refinery. It was a not a refinery. It was it was a refinery. So they had the refinery, the medical, and the cargo, and then they also had the weaponry. So yeah, Badgers, your camera's gone. Are you right there, mate?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I'm having some issues with it. I'm just fixing it. I should be back momentarily.
Cool, no worries. So for me, extra modules, Algared, what would you add? I can see the science one. That makes a lot of sense.
I can see a science one. I can see why we don't have a weapons one, because Mark Gibson said specifically this is, focusing on that industry aspect, which is what the leaks originally hinted at as well. It was industry, not combat. And so the second you put weapons in,
it just
even if it's ground troops, it's kind of going more that aspect and going away from it. So I can understand why not. I'd like to see science, because that kind of ties in with that whole
industry
aspect.
I think, like you said, though, the exploration one would tread too much on the Aquila, and it also treads too much on the Carrack. Quite honestly, it's the same size, so that's why it's not there. But ironically, I just want to point this out to you: the reason why it's got a refinery module is it links perfectly up with the miner that they're going to have. Yeah, it works. Makes a lot of sense.
Perfectly up with that, and it can work with the other miners. And the other thing is, the fact that it's not a Carrack Explorer, it's not treading on the toes of the Odyssey. So I saw a comment saying, "Oh, this is an Odyssey killer." No, it's not. If you're thinking, "Oh, my Odyssey needs to get melted for this," what were you looking for your Odyssey for?
Yeah. I think some people have really swallowed the pill that ship is an explorer ship, and it isn't. It's just I know you guys as our viewers here that have watched all our stuff will agree. You just can't say it's not a survey ship, because it is, right? And even the scanner on the bottom, like all this, they never even mention the scanner. And there's only one ship in the entire game that has a scanner on the bottom like that, and it's the Prospector.
I need to ask you, extra, please stop. Otherwise, I'll go off on a tangent.
Yeah, I know.
You know what it's like.
I know.
Please. But yeah, so, but what I like is the fact that it's running parallel with a Carrack. it's the same size. It looks like the same size hangar, but it's not doing the same role. And so they're parallel ships. You could actually have ground for having a Carrack and this, and that's the horrible, nasty, wicked thing that makes me go, I want it, and I think I will get it because it is.
It was my end, Badgers.
I am not Batgirl.
No, you are not. But so rather than putting it on 4 people and just having this awkward screen, I just quickly chucked it onto the 3.
Absolutely.
So you're Batgirl in name only.
I am very clearly inferior Batgirl.
And we've downgraded.
Sabotaging,
Oh, you're back.
Basically,
you're back.
What did you do about Batgirl?
Oh, we got
you scared
you disappeared, so we changed it. But we also downgraded him.
Knocked me into your slot, so I was there as Batgirl.
Like this.
Clearly inferior. Yeah, not good.
Yeah,
a clearly inferior.
We kicked him out of the
rip-off.
Kicked him out of the Perseus and chucked him down to the cutter. So yeah,
I had to go help my daughter with wardrobe decisions.
No worries.
You are clearly Batgirl. I am clearly the cheap Chinese knockoff, so I do apologize. Just like
it's cheap about you.
Yeah, he's the Batgirl. He's the Batgirl. Holla Batgirl.
I appear to have fixed my camera issues.
So he's Robin.
Even my mug is from Apple.
Yeah, I fixed it on my end, Badger. Sorry. It was a lot of extra talking going here, guys. Just be careful of that. All right, next question from Joe Turner. Does the Medical Galaxy render the Apollo redundant? I think we can all say no, it doesn't. No. It fills that gap. Well, you can totally see this thing hooking up with the Pisces medical variant now. 100%. Like I was saying, they use the Carrack in the video. I think it's way more for this ship than it is for the Carrack.
100%.
I know they're from the same manufacturer, so Anvil's gone, yeah, we'll make it for ours or whatever, in lore story-wise, but you can tell from a developer standpoint, they've used it for this.
And RSI, it's not breaking RSI lore because they've already used Kruger, so it's we'll use it. It works.
I do have a really... go ahead. Were you about to say something back?
I was going to say, it makes a lot of sense because the Carrack is moving out of UAE Navy inventory, and the RSI ships are moving in. So,
and one's a long-range explorer, and the other is obviously not going to be quite the same. It'll be more of an in-system ship where the explorer is meant to be out on its own. So, as I said, it made no sense to have that Pisces that you were going back to swap over all the time. Like in game, right now, but once the game kicks off, I just don't see many medical Pisces being in that thing. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I did want to ask though, I've now forgot what I was going to ask. God damn it. It was about, it'll come back to me. Fuck it. Next question is from MK84. How long will it take to swap the modules out from the vid? It seems like they're going to be fairly quick, the next day kind of thing. If a ship is designed for modularity, you'd have to assume that it's quicker, because let's be honest, something like say the privateer, I think the privateer would take a lot longer because it's more like moving house rather than really modular. You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong. No?
That makes sense to me. I think the challenge is going to be, depending on the situation you're in, is going to be the availability to swap the modules depending on the type of facility that you're at. Oops, sorry, Algared.
No, he's lagging. Algared's lagging, that's all it is.
Okay. I think it's availability depending on whether or not the facility you're at has that ability to do it, and also, just how many people are getting modules swapped out and all that sort of stuff at once. Similar to the kind of refinery capacity sort of issue. I don't think it's going to be available at your fingertips at every station whenever you want it, precisely when you want it.
Well, didn't CIG once say, modules would depend on whether you had the module at your hangar? So if you've got the module there, then yes, you could probably do the module swap and it'll take whatever time. But if you don't have a module there, then no, you don't. But I also wonder in terms of time, and I think of what I heard about the American frigates that were supposed to be, modular, take out the section and put it in. And I heard that they actually found it was quicker for them to just not necessarily do that because it was taking too long in dry dock to do that. So I don't know how accurate that is, but
I've got to ask because I've remembered it 3 times and I keep forgetting. Do you think with the vote that they had on the RSM miner, Argo miner, or the MISC miner, now knowing that this ship has the refining module and it's now a thing, that would have changed the vote? That was my question.
Whether the vote would have changed whether it was a refinery or not.
Would it been still like, would the community have still voted for RSI as a miner, or knowing that they now have a refinery in RSI and the Orion as an RSI? Like, there's just so many mining adjacent ships that are now RSI. It's just a little bit flooded for me personally. But yeah, you guys tell me your thoughts, or am I just being pedantic? I'm probably being pedantic.
I go Batgirl. Thoughts?
I honestly have no idea if it would have. I mean, that's kind of Monday morning quarterbacking. I mean, there's no way to know, right?
It's just your thoughts. It's your best guess.
People like RSI ships. I mean, look at the score. I mean, it's got sleek lines, beautiful. They look fast. I don't know. I think people chose RSI for that reason, not because, oh, there's no other RSI miner. I think they just like the looks of RSI.
I was thinking that had they known we were getting this with a refinery, I think it wouldn't have mattered. All it would have done is said RSI. RSI industry is mining, not not building bases or anything else. It's RSI industry is full on, heavily into that mining aspect. And
yeah, I think I would have voted different. I voted RSI in the minor, and I don't think I would vote that again.
Yeah.
Just because, like we said before, RSI design language is very sleek. As Batgirl points out, it's very sleek. It's very pointed. It's very distinct, but it doesn't scream minor to me. I just wish with RSI already having, or any one of those options being something we hadn't seen before, like Consolidated Outland or any of the minor ship manufacturers getting more in there. Greycat's first ship.
Yep.
Give me something like that.
Yep. For me, I don't think I voted because I actually was cheesed off it wasn't Greycat.
Yeah, and I agreed with Algared at the time. Like, I even said that, didn't we, Algared? We said this was a rare opportunity to take that mining tick thing, the Cygnus miner, and push some of that into a ship. It would have been really good.
You look at I look at the lore of Greycat, and even from the earliest time, even from when they made the PTV and they made such a detailed lore as to why the PTV was this little buggy that was racing around our hangars. Greycat is a mining company, so why the hell, CIG, didn't you offer us a Greycat? Just
frozen.
We've all frozen again.
Yeah, Algared's just got hemorrhoids. No, I'm kidding. I've just done a poll to ask, are you intending to buy an RSI Galaxy on both Twitch and YouTube? And we'll see how that goes. So, yeah. First time chatter, Carbon Tales. Nice to meet you. All right. Next question. Shempass.
It seems to be your end, by the way, because everything my end is still working.
Yeah, it's probably some kind of confliction.
So.
Shempasta says, how big will the refinery be compared to the Expanse? I think we kind of answered that before. It looks like it's going to be the large one, unless you guys think different. And it is your end, Algared, because it just refreshed on its own. So anyway, Kishkin asks, question, does it seem weird that the 318 is dropping soon? TM with salvage and no new salvage ships, vehicles, modules at the IAE. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I am really surprised. I was really expecting another salvage ship. I really was. And the fact that we didn't get one just kind of blows my mind because it's the first time they've kind of not done that. But yeah,
I've got to say, for me, it's difficult, right? Because we've got the Vulture, and I get what you're saying, Kish. You say it's not new. You're talking about from the point of view of selling it rather than that we know about it. But we've only got one of the 4 prongs of salvage. They've added it to the Reclaimer, which we weren't initially expecting. We've now got it with the Vulture as well. We've only got hull scraping.
Yeah.
And I suppose the argument could be that you could put another ship in there. But they would have to go straight to something just under the Reclaimer size of salvage. to replace the Galaxy, or the question is, where does it fit? Or because they had the Corsair, so we had the medium /
real quick.
Try to large.
Real quick before I answer that, 55% on Twitch said yes, and 64% said yes on are they intending to buy Galaxies? That's a bit over half our audience, I think we can say on that. Yeah, in regards to the salvage ship, I think we talked about this a little bit. I can't remember the manufacturer we landed on. I think it was Sinu or something like that. But there's a couple of options there for a salvage ship, and there's a couple of ways they can go with it too. They could have one that's more focused on vehicles. No, I remember who it was now. It was someone that was saying that you could have a repair ship, and so you got the Vulcan, where it's repair, resupply and refuel. You could actually have half repair, half salvage in the same ship, and it makes a lot of sense because if you turn up, you can find you'd probably have some material on from a previous ship that you'd repaired. You could just repair the ship enough to get it going rather than salvaging it. It gives it that Swiss Army knife approach. I reckon that would be really popular. A ship that's half repair, half salvage. So lose a bit of the stuff from the reclaimer, but then gain some little bit of flexibility. And it's got a little bit over the top of the Vulture because it's got repair and salvage. So yeah. Back.
I got a quick question. Yeah, just something to ponder. So right now you have a bunch of people that are mining, but it's not predominantly a very large section of the player group, right? It's specific. So here comes salvaging into the game, which is going to be pretty much a similar task, a similar game loop. Yep. Is CIG just going to lay back and see how those two start to settle? Like, does it pull from mining, which doesn't really need the attention of putting in a bunch more ships, or does it build into something different as popular as mining, where they would have to build the ships? You know what I mean? So
it depends on how far they want to go with it, I guess. And because it's tier 1, we know Munching's on the roadmap too. So I don't know. They could also make one that's just more ground focused. So the reclaimer can technically go down the ground, but does it really want to? The Vulture's obviously the most flexible one. But you can literally see what this one would be, like the medium one would be, because you've got to blast ships apart with the Vulture, yet you can grab them and cut them up with the reclaimer, but you've also got the refinery. So the middle ground is obviously you lose the refinery, but you can use it's got lasers on it to cut ships up. And I could also see all those ships working together. So the Vulture's, stripping the hulls off smaller parts that have drifted off or whatever, and tractor beaming and all that. I could just see a whole fleet of salvage ships working together. Really quick though, Hook 2005 gifted a whole bunch of subs, and I can't scroll up for some reason, so I have to do it on this screen. Bear with me. He is gifted
10 tier 1s.
Yeah,
thank you ever so much for that, mate.
Yeah,
thank you.
10 tier 1s. I was going to read out who got them. So Twitch Wet Suey got one. Average Pleb, Zaki, Austin 1. Citizen John. Oh yeah, that's John. Hey John, nice to see you. I didn't know you were there, John. Nice to meet you, John. I'll see you then. Mr. Yellow's there as well. Lost Warmer, Sempasta, and Chili Sornini, and Citizen Kilroy. Congrats on your subs, and thank you very much to Hook 2005 for those subs. Really appreciate it, your support. Right, back to what we're talking about. Do you want to add anything else to the medium salvage, or should we move on to the next question? I think let's move on to the next question.
I think, yeah.
Aguado asks, what do you guys think of the Algared? You're gonna say something?
And we're all frozen again.
Yep, cool. I'm glad it's not me that's freezing for a change. See, I got a new camera. That's the problem. You guys need to get away. I don't know what's causing it, guys. I don't know. It's obviously some kind of network congestion to my end, or the software we use is having an issue. So yeah, it will refresh. It has done it a few times. So Aguado asks, what do you guys think about the cartridge slots in the C8R? Yeah, you found this, didn't you, Badgers? You were talking about the slots. So give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so I clicky on everything in the ship directly under the medical terminal that has taken up one of the jump slots. There's C1 and C2, and they have little lit up bars. And when you click them, because they're interactable, there's like a box slot underneath that opens up, and it is I would say it's about 1/8 of the size of one of those 1/8 SCU boxes, at least, even smaller. And one slot is C1 and one slot is C2, and it's not immediately obvious what they are.
If it was B1 and B2, Algared and I would absolutely know what those are, but we can't help you. Yeah, but we can't help you with C1 and C2 at all. They are unknown to us. Maybe Cat 1 and Cat 2. I don't know. So yeah. It's a kids' TV show here in Australia. Don't worry.
Gotcha.
Look it up. Bananas.
Looks very much like there's something like maybe goop or something that you put in to keep it going.
Cartridge 1, cartridge 2, maybe. That's simple. And so you can refill 2 at a time. That makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah.
Cobra 9 Delta, thank you very much for your $10 chat and question. Sorry, we'll just let Algared finish and then we'll come to yours, mate.
Yep, 100%.
So one of the things we've said very early on is that you are going to need to recharge or put stocks into your med beds, and I think that's just a classic example of this is the first step. You are going to need to put stuff in to charge and supply your med bed.
I was thinking coming out, Algared, but you're 100% correct, because that way you can always have one in it. So you put one in, and then and when one runs out, you put the next one in. So it's a cycle, and they have that in medical devices. Oh God, I'm so dumb. I can't believe I didn't think of that. You're 100% correct, Algared. That's exactly what it is. It's cartridge 1 and cartridge 2 for the goo, and so you can always have one in, and one's always working, so it never ever runs out. That's what it is.
Theoretically, at least the hope.
Well, at least theoretically, that lines up with everything I know of how things work.
But that has implications for later on. You can't just take your medical ship. You crash your ship on a planet, and if you can have you could have a tier 1 bed, but if you don't have a goo that's going to work or the power to run that medical bed, it's useless to you. So I think that's what that's really coming down to. Anyway, that question from
Is the Galaxy a better replacement to the Expanse Apollo Caterpillar already owned, or better as a CCU until the modularity mechanics are fleshed out more? I think it's 2-part question, right? If you already own those ships, there's a reason why you already own them, right? And I think it kind of comes back to the modules that speak to you. Like Batgirl said, she was really enamored with the medical and the refinery, but you might and this is the problem though, and I did say this last week too, didn't I? And I've said it to both of you guys, is we need to know what those modules are for the Caterpillar now. More than ever, we need to know. If you were making an informed decision, do I keep the Caterpillar or do I upgrade the Galaxy? And the question, again, now becomes is we're holding all these juggling plates, waiting to see what's going to drop. We now need to get a CCU to the Galaxy.
And this is always the problem that feeds Endeavours. Or not Endeavours, feeds the enabler type group, or the people like me who... I like all the ships, but then I've got ships that I think, I might not need this if this comes out, but I have no idea...
No idea.
We lost him.
Yeah.
We lost him for a second.
So just he's back. Talk, Algared. Nope, he's gone again.
Nope, he disappeared.
He's back. No, you're back. You're back. Go ahead, Algared.
So it's that question of what is beneficial. Like I've got all these ships, and is the Odyssey going to be better than this ship? And I don't know, because the modules aren't there, and so I hang on to them because I just don't know what they're going to be like.
Yeah. So I think
frustration.
I think the response, Algared, you correct me if I'm wrong, is just buy a CCU. That's what I'm intending to do now.
I'm trying to think about my kids.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. See
if
shortly.
If you're not sure, you CCU. All right. Take care, Batgirl.
Wait, did you say she's leaving or she's coming back? I don't know. All right.
I'm still in chat with us, so may well be coming back.
Well, you can fill in for her until she gets back.
I'll be budget Batgirl until the real one comes back.
Yeah, cool.
So I think in terms of your question, Cobra, the answer is get a CCU to that ship and sit on it and see. But knowing me, I will probably get it because...
That's a really interesting... Actually, Nguido says something really interesting and kind of profound when I think about it. and when you think about the modules, it makes a lot of sense. He says the Galaxy doesn't replace anything. And he's technically correct. It doesn't. It is the large medical ship. It is the large refining ship. And we don't have either of those. And then it's just a cargo ship. So if anything, it treads on, say, the Caterpillar or a Hercules or something to that nature. And I think we'd also say it doesn't hurt to have more cargo ships, because quite honestly, cargo ships are probably going to be one of the most common ships in the entire game. Let's be honest, most of the ships we have right now are cargo or combat. So,
Nightbot is kicking Eduardo's ass in chat, by the way. Like, Nightbot's just booting him around the room.
Yeah, it's because you spammed too many messages, Eduardo. So yeah, just do it in one big paragraph, man. You're like me. I send lots of little text messages on Facebook and stuff in Messenger to my family, but they get really annoyed because all they do is get 20 notifications instead of just one. So, but that's why I do it. It's notification spamming. So yeah. All right. Next question. Yep.
Okie dokie. Kablams asks, does the Galaxy continue the Star Wars themed ship lookalikes?
You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think Anvil's Star Wars. I think RSI is Star Trek.
But you've got the... I know where he's coming from here, because you've got the Scorpius, which is the X-Wing, or a...
Exception, not the rule, because it's a fighter. But I'm talking purely internals. You go inside an Anvil, like you go inside the Terrapin, that thing like Darth Vader's throne, that scan seat.
But I'm saying that's... I'm seeing that's where the question's coming from his point of view. It's
I will say it looks like I can't remember the exact name of the ship. It's like a ventilator or a ventrilator or something like that. And it does have a very similar shaped language to like the triangle thing. It's like a smaller version of the Star Destroyer. So yeah. Okay, my parentals must be here. Cat just came in. Right. Cool. You right, buddy? He's freaking the fuck out. Right. Anyway, next question. Sorry. Unless you guys want to respond in regards to that. North asks, why has it taken so long for CIG to revisit modularity? Because it's just a part of the development. It's where they're up to with the development. Tackling modularity later is a good thing, not a bad thing. Because as you guys all know, the further along the ship is, the better it gets.
I think it comes back to what we were saying a bit earlier. Like, they may have thought, oh yeah, we can do this easy. It's just a matter of changing code. And then when you start to do it, you go, oh crap. And when you're designing stuff or building a game or stuff, there are some things you think will be good, but then as you come to do it, different blockers come in and you've just got to delay it. And it might be that we've now got to the point where they say, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, exactly that. This is the problem of having open to this degree, is that we don't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we don't know what blockers exist. We don't know what systems this was going to rely on.
Yeah.
And where they are with those systems. And I'm sure X will tell you. I'm just relaying information third hand.
You're right.
Though.
I agree with you. There are so many things we don't see. Like it's like anything in life. You only need one bit of information missing, and your outcome is completely changed.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that there are sometimes some things rely on systems that seem so unrelated and yet are actually key.
Yep.
Really, really quickly, a really good example. There's a crime, and there's one bit of evidence missing, new bits of information, and the whole crime, the different person is the guilty party. So that's a really simple way to analogize it. Yeah. Next question is Citizen Ryan asks, is there any way of workaround to track and quantum jump back to a mothership you are parked in space? I guess if you're joining the game right now, you usually have markers for the ships that you've been on, yeah? Or sat in the pilot seat of. So that would be one way to do it. But I think eventually you obviously will be able to track stuff and scan stuff and stuff like that. So that will definitely be a thing. Unless you guys want to add to that.
Unless you're in a P-52 or 72, in which case it has no quantum drive, so it has no navigation system, so no.
Eventually it will though. Eventually.
So yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be quanting them, but yeah, you would be able to track it back. I get your point though. Yeah. Right, Blamo asks again. We use sub hunting helicopters to chase away subs in the Falklands, right? Any analog for this in SC? I think I'll have to refer to you, Badgers, on that one. Or Batgirl.
Yep.
Batgirl.
Budget Batgirl says, no. So not so much in the Falklands. We had a lot more kind of primacy with that. We were aware of their diesel subs. But yes, I would suggest the reason that helicopters are really good at fighting subs is they can be equipped with torpedoes and depth charges, and there's nothing the submarine can do about it. Submarines can't kill aircraft. There's just no way. Short of coming to the surface.
Well, they give themselves away.
Like a shoulder launched. By which time you've already made yourself clear, and they will kill you before you get out.
I have to ask. So they've never made a thing for a sub. I know they can fire like nuclear missiles and stuff, but you're telling me they've never made an anti-aircraft missile off a sub like that jumps out.
Tracking.
Okay.
They tried in World War II.
You've got the radar that needs to know where it is, and what will happen is that will hand off to the fire control radar, which initially sends the missile in the right direction, and then the missile's own tracking or the ship's own direction systems, depending on what it is, will take over at that stage. But no, basically there is no system that allows that unless they're already on the surface. At which point they're so vulnerable it's untrue.
But
I would. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm saying the mechanic is in the game. I know you're talking about like real life, but the mechanic's in the game. You have
absolutely
three ships, right? You have the Terrapin goes out and finds them. You have the mine layer with the Nautilus, right, to get them to go, boom. And then you also have the Retaliator / Eclipse that works with them, or the Polaris. So,
interestingly, I think it's the Retaliator and the Eclipse that are most affected by this tactic, because their strength is coming in undetected, getting those and the first inkling you get that anything's wrong is you've got X number of torpedoes in the air coming towards you, and that's your response. If you're able to detect them 80 kilometers out and get a fighter screen up to go and deal with them, that's literally the worst. The worst scenario for an Eclipse is to sit there and watch 5 arrows or 5 Gladius or whatever bear down on it and just go, well, this isn't going to go well. So yeah, exactly. I think you're exactly right in what you say, Batgo. You've got the Terrapin and that could do that. I think just that's the bit that I'm trying to connect with Kablam's question is helicopters just detecting is enough to make stuff run away. So what other ships are there? Would that work for the Nautilus, for example? Just detecting a Nautilus, neutralize it. Because if you see it in an area not doing stuff for a while, you go, well, I'm not going over there, because guess what the Nautilus is doing?
Aren't we talking about a Terrapin? Like, just essentially like a scanner ship?
We're talking the ability to find...
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, what ships... So, sub-hunting helicopters don't need to fire anything. They just need to locate the subs. Because you do one of two things. The sub's really vulnerable to the aircraft, and 2, the rest of the fleet goes, sub over there, I'm going that way. And you divert everything away, and it's like, okay, so what ships would that work? In this scenario, we've got our fleet. What ships would be the submarines in this scenario? And I guess the Nautilus is one. Eclipse Retaliator would be a couple more. Yeah.
This is just a side note and a tangent. My cat is very stressed at the moment, and he's decided to lay on my mouse, and he's freaking out a bit. So he's just sitting here, and I'm giving him a bit of a comfort bat. So if I'm a little bit slow on things, please apologize. But I'll try to work around him as best I can. Like, I can't see the questions on Twitch, for example, at the moment because he's in the way. But can someone
hold in chat? Cat cam.
Yeah. I can pick him up, but he's a big sooky bum, this one, aren't you? And he's Dad's boy. He's a bit freaked out. He doesn't like my family. I don't blame him. But yeah, he's not a fan, and so every time they turn up, he just comes to me and like stresses out, and he climbs up on things really high. So he climbs up on my computer. He even tries to get up on top of the desk, and I don't have a camera right now, but like he's literally laying on the mouse cable and just kind of sitting there shivering. So I'm just lazy shit. Now he's laying on the keyboard. Yeah.
Just picking this up. This is really interesting. Matthew Dawes just said in chat about the helicopters.
Yeah.
They actually drop sonar buoys to detect sound, and then the sonar buoys feed that back in. Is that potentially a mine type we could see? Completely passive detection mines? Is that something that...
what's the thing from a Space Tomatoes video with
Orion and
the probes?
Yeah.
I was on a P3 Orion in the Navy, and that's what we did.
Oh, wow.
We just flew and dropped the buoys. We used the mad boom to try to detect the magnetic anomalies, but they did carry harpoons, and they did carry I forget the name of the rocket launch torpedo, but it would just like take off from the wing and then dive down in the ocean and just spin until it found the submarine. So we had all of those things, and you have a number of ships that can do that. But the Terrapin is more of a tracker, more of the E2C, right? The helicopter in it, I don't know. I think the Nautilus is the closest thing. Maybe it's going to have some really super duper scanning technology, so it's laying those mines in the right area.
Yeah.
And we start talking, CIG will get wind, and we'll have another 2-year wait for a ship that does that.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Absolutely. Eduardo, thank you very much.
This one's not only for coffee, it's for cookies as well. But it's only for the cat, apparently.
Only for the cat? Okay.
That donation for the cat.
Hey, stop. What are you doing? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to set up a camera.
Cat is now a pro streamer.
And he clearly doesn't like it.
No, he's laying on the mouse. I told... Stop it, buddy. Come on. You got it. Come on. Dad's trying to work here. You got to come on. All right, there we go. All right, I've gone back to a wireless mouse, hopefully. There we go. Yeah, buddy, that's the stream deck. Yeah, good boy. All right. I'll see if I can add a camera. I'm doing this on the fly. It's completely not meant to work, obviously. Webcam.
So, and while X is doing that, we'll move on to the next question.
Please.
I feel like I need to go on to some post-deployment therapy after hearing X call himself daddy. I can't.
My cats. This is call me. Sorry. All right. So, I don't think the camera's turning on.
So Joe Turner says, "What prices do you think the Galaxy variants will sell for on RSI Day?"
Yep.
Lots. There you go. I'm not. I don't want to guess. I'm not sure. I'm going to 100. I can say
350 for cargo, 450 for the med bay probably, and 550 for the refinery.
I'd have flipped them. I'd have flipped them based on the pricing of this C8R, which is $65.
Yeah.
Which is a $20 jump on the C8X.
See, how much
massive
equipment does it take to refine, though?
Yeah.
And how much money do you make from Quantanium?
Okay, yep, okay. You've talked me around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong.
It's just lots.
I think you're on something. Yeah.
Lots. There you go. That's probably theirs. Just one. Wait two more sleeps and you'll know.
Just while Execute is getting beaten up by his cat. Something you mentioned earlier, Bagger, I can't shake the thought. But you were talking earlier about how much do we think that when we have salvage and mining in the game, how much do we think CIG are going to sit back? And I wonder if this is all linked to Quanta and the dynamic economy, and they want them to all interact and all lean up against each other. So you've got the mining, refining. What would come with mining, refining, salvage? What do we think would come next that would also be buttressed by that kind of, because we've got cargo in and that's endemic to all of it. But what would come next? What gameplay loop would be supported by those, do we think?
Back in the day, them talking about archaeology. No, that's not the one. That's a tough one.
Fishing.
Fishing?
Can I-
Really?
Yeah.
Can I put him?
Fishing? Are we going hunting for space whales?
Fishing for submarines. Yeah.
Kids
Hunting
get that cat a green screen.
Is that too big?
know.
He's a big boy. I told you. He's a
You can
big
put him
boy.
in my spot.
What's his name, X?
His name is Jax.
Jax.
just
Jax
like-
McCleary.
Oh, I wonder why.
Jax.
But he's
Jax
like literally
McCleary.
no, it's Jax from Mortal Kombat. But he's laying like so
Okay.
you can see this is where my mouse normally goes here, and he's just decided to lie right in the middle of the way. But yeah, now you can see my skeletal and my fat stomach that I'm trying to suck in desperately. But yeah, come over this way. So
Mine's about ready to get fatter. We got a lamb in the oven.
yeah, all right, we've got to move. I'm not used to doing stuff hardware-wise on
Around
the
the
fly.
cat.
Structures.
So yeah. Oh yeah, there's cat
Okay, so
cam.
next question, because we'll try and move on.
Yep.
Benjamin Frick says, would the setup of a Crucible be a larger mobile shipyard that could swap out capital-sized components and change modules away from a station? Well, the easy
They've
answer to that is it could, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And my personal answer is I would drift away from it and say more shipyard than.
I think that's the statement they've made so far, isn't it? That capital components will need to be in effectively a dry dock, in some sort of dock with a station or shipyard to be able to do that.
But could they make the Crucible do that? Yeah, sure. But I don't think they will. That's my gut feeling. But
Hook 2005 asks in Twitch, Jax with an X or Jax? It's Jax with an X. Just like
Jax McCleary, just like Jax McCleary.
No, Mortal
I know you're saying
Kombat.
it's Mortal Kombat, but
That's
I know
right.
you're saying Mortal Kombat, but Jax McCleary. It is IAE week. It is an IAE special episode. So I'm sorry. Today and today only, it is Jax McCleary.
Okay, all right.
Just to cheese you off, you know.
No, it doesn't cheese me off one little bit. Not at all.
Next question, I think, unless you guys want to comment on that, the Crucible type question. Citizen Ryan said, doesn't it make more sense to have a mobile hover cart tier 3 and use that to transport and load occasions instead of a vet that is locked into the Pisces or any other ship?
Hang on.
I think what it's saying is, wouldn't it make sense to have some sort of movable, like the stretcher being tier 3 rather than a fixed bed inside a Pisces?
I think he means the recovery drone from the Apollo. Unless you read that differently, but that's how I read that. He's saying, so rather than having a vehicle be sucked up into it, wouldn't it make more sense to have a recovery drone? But I also wonder, doesn't that still a feature from the Apollo? Like, can't that be a thing just for the Apollo to have that drone? I think that is a thing that should be bespoke, personally. But yeah,
that was my understanding of how I was saying the list would work with the with the Galaxy. I didn't even think vehicle. When they said lift to get their patients up, I was thinking, it's just like the Shepherd drone. I could see it working both ways. I don't think it treads on the Apollo, because the Apollo's got that modularity to be either 6 tier 3 beds or 4 tier 2 beds or 2 tier 1 beds. So even if you go tier 1 beds, it's still twice as good as the Galaxy would be. If you go tier 6 beds, it's still twice as good as the Galaxy. The Galaxy's advantage is that it would be 3, 2, 1, and that's all it can do. You don't have that modularity. So the benefits of both, but I don't think they tread on each other's toes. I think they complement each other. So.
Just to John Ski there. Sorry to hear that you lost a cat, mate. I'm not looking forward to the day when I lose this little man or his sister, for that matter. So I can only imagine how you feel, and I think that's for any pet, family member. They're a part of my family. They are my family, essentially. I think most people, especially if you don't have kids of your own, they become very attached. Let's put it that way. So
yeah.
Yes, you do become attached to pets.
Sorry to hear about that, brother. That's not good.
You know what we can do now, Batgirls? I've got to re-add it. I was just going to watch she's nicked off for a second.
Cool. Whilst you're fiddling, I think that a mobile tier 3, as in something you push around unlikely. As X has already alluded to, there is the opportunity to have. The Apollo medevac has drones that will go out and kind of get pilots that have ejected. So put them in a protective atmosphere, bring them back to the ship to be treated. And we think, we guess that might also work on the ground. So you could put the Apollo down on the deck and have the drones go off and recover possibly troops and then bring them back. But I think the idea of one of those also being a tier 3 medical bed as opposed to just a life-sustaining object would make it super powerful and invalidate a lot of stuff.
He's getting more and more approachy. I don't know if anyone else is watching that. He's just like rolling onto the keyboard now. He's getting, look at him.
It's because he wants. That's where your hands are.
I'm kind of hoping he was. Yeah, I'll move him in a minute, but I'm still going to make it so if
you can leave him.
Yeah, I was going to put up the name Cat Girl.
No, we have Batcat. We have Batcat.
Oh, Batcat.
Batcat. I
That's
like
mine.
that.
Sophia's Batcat.
Yeah, you can't call it a cat girl. That'd be an uwu.
Yeah.
Right now, my cats are all freaked out because my daughter brought over a dog.
Yes.
This boy does not like dogs. He actually got attacked by a dog. Oh, I'm trying to think how long ago it was now. But it was a fair while ago, and the whole ligament in his leg got torn, and it took him 18 months to fully heal again. And now every time he sees a dog, he's just terrified. And
Freaks out.
My parents bring animals around with them, and it's just like, yeah, I keep telling them to not, but they do it anyway.
All right, so to move the conversation on a little bit.
Yep, sorry.
The Palm channel says, between the Galaxy modules, the cargo one seems like the one to get. What is your opinion on that?
I would go with, I don't think it's going to be as accessible for cargo as in quicker unloading and loading, as some other cargo ships out there. For example, the C2 looks like it's going to shift cargo very, very quickly because you can load at both sides. Whereas if you look at the idea of, we were looking earlier at the picture of the MPUV in front of the back door looks lower. So it looks like you're effectively going to have to tractor stuff in and then on top of other cargo. And then potentially, if it's got a ramp or not, someone out back putting that stuff in from the back. So
yeah, that would be the case for the ship's cargo, the intrinsic cargo, but from a cargo bay, which is underneath, that raises questions as well, and I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right, next question, please. I don't know where we're up to. Is that current, Citizen Ryan?
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
Citizen Ryan asks. Sorry.
You go.
That's the one we just. Oh no.
Yeah, we did that one. Jock Cop. No, it isn't. Stop it. Jock Cop asks, for Badgers, is this a Perseus killer? I'm gonna ban you.
Just a slight harsh overreaction, but yeah.
It's only because he heard my rant on it last week, and now he's being mean.
Yeah.
Stock it.
Yeah.
Jock.
He's basically saying, "Fight me." Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is that.
With Anto Cobra Deltas, that was the
Yes.
That was the coffee question.
Yeah.
Okay. Keystone Pirate, is that what we're up to?
No, we're up to Cobra's second question, I think.
Okay, yeah,
go for it. Question.
It's the same question twice.
Yep. So Keystone Pirate's question.
Yep, go for it, Algared. You read it.
So, hello, panel, chat. For a beginner looking to get into Star Citizen, what aircraft would you suggest? Also, what starting locations? Cheers and happy holidays. So, starting ship and starting location.
So, what ship are we going to start with in our starting location?
No, for a beginner looking to get into Star Citizen, what ship did we suggest? And what starting location?
Cutter and Hurston is where I'd go. Centrally located, and that Cutter's really hard to beat at the moment for me. But each of you can take your pick. Algared, where would you go?
At the moment, because of the price of the cutter, with the game pack and everything else at $45, I'd go cutter. Once that sale is after the 8th, when it's just back to its normal price, I'd probably go down to an Avenger.
Or you mean up to an Avenger? Is it up? It's up to an Avenger, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's up. It's up to an Avenger.
Up.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably go.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably stick to either a C8X or at the higher price, or a or even just an Aurora.
Yep.
Depending on how much you want to spend.
Badgers, your thoughts?
Dude, it's a free fly. It's a free fly till the 30th.
That's a good point.
Get yourself a free account. Come in. If you're in on a free fly account, make sure you select Microtech as your starting location. And what you do is when you come out, you'll see some steps down from your hub. And there will be loads of signs, and it'll say IAE with arrows. Follow that onto the train, get off the train where all the banners are, go up. You can rent every ship in game. They change over at 4 o'clock UTC. Go and have a look is what I would say. And then as soon as you can, get away from Microtech into Atmosphere, play some of the game loops, and see if the game in its current state suits you. Because a lot of people, rightfully so, don't like buggy builds of stuff. This is exceptionally buggy because it's alpha. And if it's going to drive you mental, by all means come back, keep an eye on stuff. There's at least 2 free flies a year. That means every 6 months you can come back, check the progress. 4.
24.
There you go. It's 4 a year. Come back, check the progress, see what you think. Is where I'd go with that. Because it is, for those of us that love it, no other game is scratching the itch.
I see what you did there.
Group of people.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But those there are a lot of people who are going to love it, I am sure, who right now are tearing their hair out and wanting to punch their monitor because it is incredibly frustrating when it goes wrong, and it goes wrong a lot.
Yep. I've just realised I'm going to have to set up cam permanently now for when they turn up. I've just realised this. It's going to be a thing. Anyway, all right.
Look, I only worry about that if it increases our viewers.
Yes.
I got my opinion. I mean, unless we don't want to hear it.
No, we do.
Now
Sorry,
that all the kids are gone.
Yes, please.
No, I just think that, there's so many opinionated people saying buy this ship and start with it. It's the best one. The Avengers, the best one. Yeah. Whatever it is. I say start on YouTube and try to find somebody that has similar interests as you do. Watch some morphologist videos and live streams. Watch some of mine, watch some of y'all, and get an idea of what the ships do. Because a lot of people are going to say, I don't like that Nomad, or I don't like that Mustang Alpha. But it really is true that you could have fun and start in any ship, and within a day or two, already be into the advanced starters, already be into the the Cutlass, and that's where I think the game starts, right? So once you get to your Cutlass, and that's still a de facto advanced starter, I think that's when the game opens up. So if you could spend 100 and change, get a Cutlass. If not, get the cheapest ship that you can, make the money to get that Cutlass. And where to start? Always Microtech. There's no place more beautiful than Microtech.
So just as a point in,
say Hurston, but
what Diffel says in chat, there are more people saying get an Avenger the less I want one. So you gotta remember, a lot of what we do is generalized advice, right? So it is a really good general starter, right? But again, like we did I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but we did a Perseus's medical Pisces guide. This is one of the lowest entry points for a bespoke starter. And that was one of the things that we talked about in that video. And it's the same thing. Go for what you like. But when we're giving generalized advice, we have to be general. It's the only way you can do it. It's if I sit you down and me and Algared do a Fix My Fleet with you, we will tailor it exactly to you. With that, we do have a very generous $50 super chat from John Ski, who says, the next career in Star Citizen, how about Merchant, where you have to store storefront inventory and you can fly from a planet or station location and set up a shop. A storefront module would be neat. My inner Ferengi. No, 100%. That's something me and Algared did talk about, Algared, didn't we? It was an alien Banu ship that was just like one shop, not three like in the Merchantman, just the one. And we also talked about the an Origin ship that was like a high-end clientele shop as well. We talked about that too, didn't we, Algared?
There's options. Yeah, and I'd like to look. Any play loop they introduce and things that come along, whether you do a clothing line or whether you do anything else, the second you open up a play game loop where you can actually do stuff, it'll appeal to people, and it'll appeal to different people, and people who like the medical gameplay will go all off on the new medical ships, and those who like cargo hauling, when that gets fixed, will go absolutely ape, and the pirates will go ape over a Corsair or whatever, and the miners will go ape over, I'm assuming they'll go ape over the next Origin ship, not RSI ship, like the large miners. So it is really a matter of getting those ships that appeal to what you're after and following that rabbit hole. And
hey, someone was saying, Mark84 says Banu food truck. I think that's the appeal of what we're saying, is if you can have a solo shop ship, you can make that any shop in the game. Think of all the shops that they have in the stations right now. You could have a gun shop, you could have a food shop, you could have an antiques or clothing shop or whatever. It's not limited to what it was. One of the things that I did think of that would be really cool, but we kind of already have the privateer, is a junk shop. As in, like, imagine a Drake ship as a counter to the Origin one. So I could actually see two ships. Yeah, one from Drake and one from Origin, literally hitting both sides of the extreme of the market. So, yeah.
We need a sushi truck because I've got to do something with all the fish I'm going to be fishing up. So,
well, we've got to have we've got to have one for Drake for the Breaking Bad. So, Old Man Hurston can make all these Evercrack. So, yeah.
I know.
So I actually get to go, fuck it, I'm making meth and mean it.
No.
Yeah.
we mix. We mix it because Paulie is the barkeep, and he mixes the Evercrack. So it's not a baking. It's mixing. We mix a drink. We mix Evercrack.
I almost need this up a little higher now. He's actually fully laid out now. He's now taken up half the mouse pad.
Yeah, as he does.
Yeah, he's loving it too much, but yeah. All right, next question.
Cat is just chilling.
Yeah, he loves a good pat. I spend a lot of time patting my cats. They are very spoiled, as they should be.
As Mark 84 said, the Big Benny's food truck, but was originally teased as a April Fool's joke. And that
wasn't that a Mako? Wasn't that a Mako? Oh, not a Mako. A Reliant. Reliant. Yeah.
It was a Reliant done up as a Big Benny's food truck.
I just think that's a terrible ship for a food truck because of all the extra wings and space. You can't park them next to each other.
What, Mako?
Yeah, but you've got lots of advertising space.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that. Yeah, okay. I get where you're going.
I could just imagine somewhere.
I mean, the cutter is the absolute best one for that.
The cutter would work.
The cutter would work.
It's like a roach coach.
Yeah. You could see it as a single shop type thing, and the food truck was a classic example. Food truck, clothes shop, weapon shop. It's the same type of idea. So, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on is all I say. Yeah. Anyway, next.
Or maybe it's something an Aurora could sling underneath it.
Yeah, a big pod. Yeah. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, next question. Sorry, can someone?
Yep, I just got to find it.
I'm too busy padding.
If the Galaxy Plus modules sell and what
so well, and they want to include more,
what module would you think CIG would introduce?
I think we talked about this already. Science seems to be the obvious one.
Yep.
We don't have a large science ship at the moment. Couldn't do space mining with it. It's not really set up for gas mining. It's not really set up for that. And I think
no exploration, enough of those.
Yeah, because it treads on the Carrack, it treads on the Quilla.
And it runs too parallel to the parallel the Carrack anyway.
Someone said repair. Someone said repair, but that too close to the Crucible. Salvage is a no for me. I'd rather a bespoke ship personally.
Manufacturing,
depending on what you're doing. Like I wouldn't want to see it putting missiles together.
Yeah,
and that unfortunately is where people will look at making shells or making missiles, and that seems to be one of the things Chris didn't want us doing early on. It was kind of we could influence those sales or produce parts, but not necessarily be the final shot. And
prison ship,
2014. But yeah, prison ship would be an option. Bounty hunter ship with cells. So
taking it on from the repair side of things, an actual vehicle workshop that allows you to switch out the different types of vehicles that we have at the minute. So it's not just about bringing them back to full serviceability. It's about switching out weapons on the fly, so you can go with a bunch of weapons, land it, bottom bit drops out basically, or just sits down like a ramp. But the vehicles drive up. You've got various cranes and tractor beams and all that sort of stuff, so you can change weapons on the fly. I think something like that might be cool.
Yep, I could see that.
I'm just moving this again. Hold on. I've got an idea. Sorry. Next question when you guys are ready. Sorry. Just ignore me.
So Juan says, which big ships do you think will or should release with pyro?
Well, it sounds like this is one of them, does it not? You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong there. They're setting this up to be that. Designed for pyro. That's literally was one of the first things they said, no? Or am I mistaken?
Oh
no, that was something.
Yeah, I think ships like this they're looking at
the Liberator.
The Liberator's one they've got for pyro.
Yeah.
This because it's extending the range.
Pioneer. Didn't they say we would be going to be able to claim our land after pyro goes live? Liberator makes sense.
Yeah,
that's only for base building though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, we know what the next. I mean, they're going to talk to us about the Polaris, so that's got to be coming in the next 12 months, right? Hopefully sooner. But I think the Liberator makes the most sense because people have to move all their stuff from Stanton to Pyro if they want to live there.
Yeah,
I could see that if they were talking capitals, I could see the Kraken before the Pioneer, just because again the moving of all stuff. And I
would love to see it. I would love to see it before the Pioneer. I mean before the Pioneer and the Liberator. I would love to see the Kraken. I just, I don't know. Are they going to be able to get it?
I'm now wondering what Snop and Sniffer is stopping to sniff when he says things like a hot tub time machine module.
That's the Phoenix.
Yeah, that is the Phoenix.
I hate the Phoenix for that. I really do. That is the one thing I hate in the Phoenix. It
just doesn't belong. It's just like, let's just put it into this area.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm over surprised that old man Hurston doesn't like normal people having like really good comfort. I mean, why is that a shock to precisely anyone? I don't get it.
So good. So good.
This is revenge.
You're probably one of the types of people who say the toilet in the Phoenix is the hot tub.
Did they say the 600?
No, Badgers would never say that. He'd just say the Phoenix is the toilet. Right.
This is revenge, Algared, for me trying to record earlier. He stopped.
Yeah.
Still want to know where the piano is for the Phoenix.
All right. Yep. Next question, please.
Grand piano in 0G. What could possibly go wrong?
I can just see Old Man Hurston doing Piano Man in space, like what's what's that song that they use? You know when they launched the Tesla car into space and they played that song and he's playing it and it's just
Life
old
on
man. Yeah, Life on Mars, and Algared's just floating through space in a spacesuit on a piano going Life on Mars. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
I would get myself a Phoenix just to get the world's first Star Citizen death by grand piano kill. So when you go to soft death and someone comes in, literally just hit them with the tractor beam grand piano. Boom! Yay!
Yeah. I'm here to play a little number with my friends.
That would be better than the kill they had in Theatre of War with the
the fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher.
Yeah, that's good.
Did that ever go live?
We'll eventually. We now joke about the old folks home. We'll all be in the old folks home playing this game at this point. Hey, but look, at least our kids will be able to play it. Or
I'm
whatever.
getting close.
Yeah.
Just on a complete tangent now, because we're going down this rabbit hole. I'm going in with both feet. Has anyone tried picking up a knife with a tractor beam and then stabbing an AI to death with it? Because I'm not going to lie, if no one can confirm that works or not, guess what I'm doing immediately after the stream?
Actually, even just dropping boxes on NPCs, would that work? Has anyone tried that? Like just pick up one of those, because I know where you are at those locations. It's got those big crates, the SC like one SCU crate. Can you pick one of those up and just drop it on the head of an NPC and it knocks them out? I've never even seen that tried.
In one of the camps, I pulled one. I pulled one off one of the top things that's on in one of those camps that you see.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And it hit him and fell to the ground. It didn't do anything. It didn't knock him over or anything. It just hit him and fell to the ground.
Oh, that's a shame.
So,
eventually, though, you would hope that would do something.
My question would be, if you could do that, will you get a crime stat? Because the box, do you own the box? No, you just tracked.
Because all you've brought to mind now is that video of the C2 exploding and all those boxes going rah. I would literally just get myself above Horizon, take off vertically to where I can self-destruct, and then just carpet bomb Horizon with God knows how many SCU worth of boxes. Just be like, surprise!
Yeah. 100%. Oh, dear. All right. Algared, you're behind bars, and I'm trying to refresh it.
No, I can see that. I have died on my end.
Yeah, I think you can. Algared, I think you might be in new camera territory very soon, mate.
I think it might be going down the line you went.
Yeah, because just so you guys know, me and Algared had the same camera, but I got mine about a year or two after his. But I used it a hell of a lot more than he did, because obviously I'm in more shows than Algared is. But yeah, it wasn't made to do what we use it for. We use he does use a piece of software to hack it to work it in 4K. And yeah, now there are actual cameras that do 4K, so it might be time to upgrade.
Yep. Which camera is it?
The M50.
Canos EOS M50. What, you right there, buddy? He's like getting in a full roll upside down mode.
The entry-level beginner Type 1 4 thing, which was a nice camera, but
yeah.
But might have to get you on badges a 2 for the price of 1 deal if we can. And yeah,
I just fixed mine, so I know what mine was now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying because it's embarrassing, but I know what it was.
What was it?
No.
Oh, you said it was embarrassing. Okay, no worries.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
They said the new Elgato Facecam Pro is phenomenal for doing this, but it's expensive. I mean, it's like $350.
Well, when we looked into the price and converted it, it was basically $100 more, and you can get a full DSLR. So we were like, we're probably better still just to get a DSLR, because the problem with those webcam cameras is they just don't have the full feature set, is the politest way I'd put it. And also, if you are going to get one that's only $100 more, when you're all said and done with it, you can also use it as a picture camera. So,
absolutely.
We're getting off topic here again, but as we tend to do as content creators. As content creators, you don't get to talk about content creation much other than with other content creators. So, yeah.
Yep. So, wild speculation.
Mm-hmm.
You think the front dual 5s will be pilot controlled? Throwing it out to the universal BMM
What?
pilot dual
He's talking.
size
He's
8.
yeah.
For the Galaxy.
Yeah, he's talking about the Galaxy.
Of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So the question from Nator Fritz is, wild speculation, do you think the dual size 5s will be pilot controlled? And he said, throwing it out there to the universe, BMM have pilot dual size 8.
Just get rid of the knives and forks, Jack. Settle down. No. You're
So,
right. I'm gonna put your legs.
I gotta look at it.
There you go.
Well, the Hercules are. I'm sure they will be.
Mm.
what are the turrets? Do we know yet?
The side turrets are remote, so they're probably going to need people or a blade that makes them attached to the front or fire on their own.
But my question is, what size are they? Because
They're size 5. They're size 5.
Yeah.
To me,
Does that mean they're size 4?
Yeah. All I know is from the leaks that they're size 5 guns.
So
Yep.
to me, that
That's the
says
size.
So it'll make it a size 6 turret then. Essentially, if I've got my stats correct, that would be a size 6 turret with size 5 guns. Unless I'm mistaken, or I got my stats wrong.
if that's right, I'd say yes, because that just mirrors what the MSR does. Pilot has size 3, the turrets both have size 3s, gives you 6 size 3s, whereas this would be 2 size 5s as a pilot, and if you got crew manning those remote turrets, then it goes to 6 size 3s, or 6 size 5s, so... But... Yeah.
So to answer chat, no, we don't have the specs up on the website yet. We don't know whether leaks was referring to the size of the guns or the size of the turret.
Yep.
As we've discovered, there was a weaponry module touted in leaks that hasn't materialized.
Yeah.
So with a pinch of salt, we're going on the best information we have. But we're not. There's no guarantee that is correct.
That's exactly it. You go with the information you've got, but obviously now coming out there is no weaponry module, so not everything is going to see the light of day, and that is the disadvantage of leaks. So it's cool to get a little sneak peek, but it's not always going to be correct.
But
I just sent you a leak. I don't know if you saw that.
I'll have a look. Sorry, Algared, you're going ahead.
I said Nota Pritz asked wild speculation, so this is wild speculation.
So what am I looking at here? This is the Q&A for the Pisces medical. Nikki, what am I looking at?
Yeah, did we see this already?
Yeah, I've seen this already. Quite a bit actually. So yeah. But yeah,
all right, good.
What do you want to go over it? We can go over it if you want to go over it. That's fine.
No, I'm good. I'm more interested in what we're talking about now. Someone just sent me that, and I'm like, I thought we talked about that.
Yeah, we did. It's all good.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that, Nikki? In terms of the wild speculation about the gun sizes and stuff for the Galaxy.
I've learned my lesson not to hedge my bets on something that's not in the verse yet.
Mm.
So even what they say is there today might be different down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, missiles grew in size inside of some of the ships, right? So I don't know. Size 6, 2 size 5 sounds right to me.
Mm.
But
yeah.
But but I mean, let's say they've stressed more than 2 times in that video that this isn't a combat ship.
Yep.
So
it's not a combat ship, but it does have weapons to protect itself. So.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to have really big guns. I think they might be a size 5 turret and twin size 4s.
Yeah. SA says in chat, and I'll just throw this at you guys. We do know the Polaris is getting a rework, and we're obviously going to see that the next episode. So it says, this is from SA, it says also means that the Polaris is likely to get a turret buff and a major one. I don't disagree with that. You know, the Polaris was, I think, one of the first ships that got in under the new metric. So that's why it's getting a rework, because it's changed so much. And I think you'll see that with the ships as they go along. You know, I fully expect... Godman, pick a ship, you know. In any ship as it comes in, it looks like it's probably going to get a more of a polished concept. So say, just for argument's sake, the Odyssey, when they get around to finally doing that in a year or two time, or whenever they do it, that'll get another reconcept as well, just to bring it up to the par of the new technology and all the things that they've learned. And we've seen it time and time again. And we also see it from the other side of the coin, where they've taken an older ship like the Retaliator right now is going through that whole you know, gold pass polish up and fixing some things up that just, you know, Well, yeah, they had the docking collar on the bottom, didn't they? And now they've gone, well, it's too difficult for bots to get through those, so we'll just make them more horizontal. So that's just as they make things, they're polishing them, fixing them all up. So yeah, and that'll continue to happen. All right. Are you talking to a guy? No, okay. I'll let you talk to a guy. What's the next question up there? Legion Victorious asks, greetings from Montreal. That's in Canada, yeah? Montreal, Canada? Yep. All right. I just upgraded an LTI token to the new Pisces. I'm wondering, is there a way to place an unconscious player onto the bed? I saw many players struggle at this. Oh, that's a really good question. That would be something I would want them to definitely add in the future. You right there, Punk? You right there? You good boy?
Because you can't do that with a tractor beam, can you?
No, you can't. They're just going to be... Well, there's got to be a way to make that happen. They might have to build the animations for that. So they're going to have to go back to their mocap to get that done. But I think that will come. I think that the Apollo does it with the Shepherd drone, right? Because it holds the person out, right? And maybe there'll be something like that for the Pisces down the road. But the whole idea of the Pisces is you've already gone to him, used the medical gun, right? Got them up and running, walking, so they could probably put themselves on the bed.
Yeah.
It's walking wounded rather than kind of dead.
I can actually see a strength to this being, like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, right? Totally throw me under the bus if you want. The Endeavour is kind of got the really big stuff, but it can't move. The Apollo has got the ability to kind of like pluck people out with the drone, and the Pisces is really small and get into places where the other people can't, and that's why it's the rescue. The Cutter's kind of like a long-range version of that, and somewhere between the Apollo and the Pisces. I still see a place for that, by the way. And then this. What does this ship's thing? Well, it takes things off the Pisces, but also if you can have a land vehicle come up into it, that's a niche again. Right, so this is kind of, and to be honest, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, this seems to be the most generalized of all of the medical ships because it takes a little bit from everything, where everything else seems to be a bit more bespoke. You know what I mean? With this, I thought the the Endeavour was going to be the grand master of everything, but I can still see this ship being kind of more popular because it's it's almost like a small country hospital opposed to a big city venture is the easiest way I could explain it. And there's obviously an advantage to that being more mobile and landing. We know it can land on pads, so it's a thing, where the Endeavour can't do that. So this is the only kind of ship that you can land on a planet that is a hospital, that is big enough to do the additional stuff. It's one step above a Apollo if you think about it, because it's essentially got 3 rooms where the Apollo's only got 2, but it can take on the vehicles and it can have the craft land inside it, which it just doesn't have that connectivity that the Apollo has. So it ironically sits perfectly seated between the Endeavour and the Apollo.
And everything you're saying is bringing attention to the fact that you can get something like a Lynx that's an ambulance, and you have the Pisces going and evacuating people that need immediate help, and you have the Lynx bringing people in, and maybe it has a couple of Shepherd drones itself. I think the drones are what go up that elevator underneath. So there's a lot of things that could go on here.
Yeah, so Cobra 9's just following up with his question. I think you would have to have some kind of mechanic, mate, where you can pick... You know how you can drag a body right now? You obviously have the ability to pick up a body, or once you've dragged it up to somewhere, you can then, like a place command for whatever you're holding. So obviously that's not quite in-game yet, right? We've got the placing of objects, but we don't have the placing of bodies, because if you think about that, that requires a very specific animation set. And so obviously you'd have to pick him up and then place him onto the body. It'll come. I can so see it coming. It's just that I can see the ragdoll physics in there, and there's some technical requirements there. That's very... Sorry?
It's another trip.
Twitch chat is saying that you can place players onto the bed if you're already dragging their body. You will have the place body on bed prompt on the bed if and when you are dragging a body. Animations are apparently already there.
There you go then.
We put X into the game. I shoot him till he stops moving, and then we try and put him on the bed.
Let's go do that now. You could shoot me.
No, we'll shoot X.
Everyone does.
Unfortunately, I can't. I've got no room for my mouse. Oh, what a shame.
You don't have to take part.
Yeah, you guys.
You just have to stand there and we'll shoot you.
Yeah, great. I can't get into the game though. There's I can't get to the mouse. I've got a cat at the moment, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, get over it.
Thanks, buddy.
You're bigger than he is.
You saved me again. Good boy.
Is that coming through the stream?
What's coming?
Is that coming through the stream? I swear I can hear poultry in the background, like.
You're finally gone clucky. You're finally gone clucky. I get it. He's gone crazy. He's lost his mind. Woo! Trying to call me chicken, but it's not going to work. Yeah.
Did someone say chicken?
Yeah. No, next time. We do it next time.
Make like
God,
a
I'm
tree and
hungry
get out
now.
of here.
All right.
We've been talking about food talk. We've been talking about chicken. I'm going to go get some food.
Yeah.
Back to the future.
Well, we've got about 15 minutes left, so we've got a
I'm
heap.
starving, can't you tell?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Now let's go for another question.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's
these
try
people
and
get their questions answered.
in a few
Yeah.
minutes.
So
CRR released.
Mm-hmm.
CRR released. Do you think the Endeavour's hangar bays will be resized for them over the Cuddy Red?
Wait.
Quick answer: yes, no.
What was it?
No.
Sorry, the Cuddy Red released.
With the C8R released. Do
No,
you think the Endeavour's hangars will be resized?
No, because they fit in Apollo.
They fit in Apollo.
Yep.
So no. Yeah, you know.
No. Good question, though. Good question.
Yeah.
The answer is no because of the Apollo, which can be in that hangar as well.
Loan for the Galaxy. Is that the next one?
Yep. That is the next question.
By 4/4. We answered this before. I think we already answered that one.
Did.
Yep. So what tier med bed you think the Galaxy will have? Well, it looks like it's got everything. One of it.
Looks like it's got everything.
One room of everything. Legion Victorious asks, speaking of RSI, how likely would you think CIG rework for the Connie? In my opinion, it badly needs internal rework and we get size 5 mounted. Yeah. Algared, you and I have talked about this heap, so I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah, well, and if we need to, we'll do another rework on the Connie. There you go.
Yep.
It needs a gold pass, that's all.
It does. It needs a refix and interior nice work and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Rabbit Hole. 1673. What price are we thinking for the Galaxy? I think we've covered that already as well.
Yes.
Several times.
No idea.
Flare Haranos. It looks like Galaxy is the only ship that will have a respawn point, given that it has a tier 1 bed. This is unfair, but a non-dedicated medical ship has a tier 1 bed with a respawn point.
Wait, what?
So
I think the Endeavour is likely to have one.
And also the Apollo will have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I see
what I'm guessing is, and this is purely the opinion expressed now is purely mine. No one else on the streams, unless they expressly so that it is their opinion. I think Respawn and Tier 1 are going to be separated at some point in the far distant future.
It's always a possibility. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, they did talk about respawning on medical ships from way back, way back when.
Yes.
And when they dropped it from tier 3 to tier 2, yeah, I don't know, because they said it would be very profitable. I remember them way back with the medical modules, Algared. Do you remember them talking about you could park your Endeavour or park your Apollo near a combat situation and allow people to respawn on your ship for a charge?
Yep.
I asked a question about that once. And respawn has to do a distance from the ship. If not, you respawn back at the hospital that you originally started from. So, that might be coming, but I think it's dedicated hospital ships, which right now, this might be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
If you got
yeah, it's too hard to tell.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Algared.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, Hook 2005 gifted another 10 tier 1 subs. Mate, really appreciated, but please don't feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Really good. They've gone to Dalmore, JC Kaboom TV, Rooster Rage, love the name, Astra Kitano, Lord Hollington, Cryptesia, to Stempek, CJ83, J Voodoo Child, and Sangroper. So congrats. Make sure you thank them in chat for your gifted tier 1s. Cheers.
I'm gonna have to make more emotes soon. We actually hit another thing in Twitch, and I'm gonna make another emote. I hate it. You guys just keep making it work for me. I hate it. So when I'm at IAE, well, just wait. Give me a couple of weeks, please. Like seriously, like
I love making work for you because I love you.
He loves it. He really enjoys it.
So
it's just
more
it
work.
Makes him so happy.
Let me put it in a way the badgers will understand. More work, less dark tide.
More questions.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on. Side hash Kidum. I have a Corsair, which I CCU from a card with LTI. I am planning to get the BMM on the last week of IAE by CCU. Should I spend $650 used on it? My plan is to have only one big ship with LTI.
So from a financial standpoint, like if you're talking purely money, there are people that are selling them for like damn half of what the thing's worth. So it's really hard for me to go out and say, go get it directly from CIG. But then again, you need to, there's obviously associated risks with that. So you can also get war bond CCUs that are at this sale that'll bring it down by a bit. But I don't know your financial situation. I cannot recommend what is best for you. What I probably would say is go have a chat to one of the people in the CCU Helpers channel, and if it is important enough, they'll escalate it up to me and Algared. But at this point, that's a really good place to start. All those people have been vetted, and it is hard to give financial advice. I know a lot of the other Inforunners do struggle with it, but we try to keep it as general as possible. But then if we talk...
Those with what colour tag do they have if they've been vetted?
They're like a cyan, they're like half cyan, half green. They're just called CCU Helpers on the Discord. There's a whole CCU Helpers channel, and you'll spot them when they're in there because their name in brackets says CCU Helper. They're the people to talk to, and they'll elevate it up to us just because it's very busy at the moment. But we try to give general advice, but then when we talk to you directly, we hone it right into your situation. So yeah, if you want that help, that's where to get it at the moment.
And if you don't decide to do that, and you're concerned about the BMM going up again, get a CCU to it just to lock in that current price.
So, is this last time they'll be able to buy that CCU?
Potentially, because when that releases now, and we're not saying, look, because this is the other weird thing, right? They've just come out and kind of said they're either got to continue work on it and push it into the game without the gameplay, so it'd only ever have the cargo. All right, so I think we can all agree it'll have cargo and a hangar at the very least, right? It won't have the shop stuff, right? So if they push it into the game, I still think the cargo is enough to put it into the game. So let's look at the 890 jump. It literally is all it's really got is cargo at the moment, right?
Only half a cargo, I think, because it's lower hangar cargo bay doesn't really work.
Yeah, but you're targeting. So the point I'm trying to make though is they could technically put it into the game. If they do that, yes, this will be the last time, and when it releases, it'll easily jump by at least $100, putting it perfectly in line with the Polaris, the A2, and whatever other ships they decide to park there, making it the maximum CCU that you can get it to. So there's nothing you can jump it to because $0 CCUs don't exist. So as we said earlier on in the week when we did Alien Week, this is a very good time to jump off any of those banner merchmans you've got to get to other things. And I've just realized, shit, I didn't pick up a thing that I was meant to pick up. I'll have to pick it up on the last ASL. Thank you for jogging my memory. But like, that's one of the things with this. I do so much work on this stuff. I have to go back to other people to get them to tell me what I've got to do with my ships. So a lot of the mods that are on the Discord, they come. Ooh, he bit me. It was a tongue lick. He just licked me. But I wasn't looking, so it scared me. The last time of the sale, they actually have to tell me all the stuff I have to pick up because I'm so gone by that stage. So I really appreciate the help that the mods do for us during this time period. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to thank the mods and the CC helpers. And all of you guys too that help me, and I mean just the Inforunners, and I mean the chat people that look out for me, because I really appreciate it, because I do get kind of run down, and it's the same for you, Algared, at the moment, isn't it? Because you're doing work and stuff like that. But yeah, Badgers, have you been overworked lately? No.
I'm on.
He's not doing enough. It's all his fault. Yep.
I just, yeah. That I'm going to deflect by pointing out that there's a lot of love in chat for the minute for you, Batgirl. Callus Cyclone says, haven't seen you in 6 years or so, one of the originals for SC content. Eduardo says, loving your presence here, Batgirl. Hope you came to stay. And Face Kid says, same, love to see you, Batgirl. So, yeah, lots of love in the chat, which is nice.
Look at that camera
I'll be
view.
here every day they want me. No, yeah. So what you just said changes my mind as to what I would say. If you want the Banu Merchantman, get it. But I want to give you for instance, I waited for my Carrack ever. I gave all my money up to get my Carrack at the time, and it's a big cargo ship right now. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But the gameplay that I bought it for, I have not been able to realize, and I had to give up other ships that I could have had that I could have been having fun with. So I'm really, it's difficult for me to say, yeah, go and do it, knowing what I went through at my favorite ship in the whole world that doesn't have all the gameplay that I want. Yeah. And you still have to wait for manufacturing in order to be able to put up a shop, and we don't have any of that on the horizon.
So Algared, I'll let you speak to this, Algared, but what she's talking about is now versus release, is she not?
Yeah. It is exactly now versus release, and that's often why we'll say CCU. The other option is you just buy it and have it there because you're not sure what it's going to be like, and you say, do I melt this, or do I keep this, or do I just, I don't want to melt this and not be able to get it back because it might be actually the ship that I want rather than this, and it's just it is a nightmare. It is really, I know it's one of the struggles that I went through early on with, and it started me down the enabler. Buy everything, why not both type thing that we do. Yes, you and people in the old Addicts Anonymous channel in the very old forums were my mainstay, and it was comforting because we were all as insane as each other, or some of us were more insane than others. But yeah, but that is the problem, isn't it? It's that great struggle with the ships as they come out.
Yes, he admits it, Badgers. He does. He admits it. We're in a room with two psychopaths. Yeah, that was my thoughts as well, Badgers.
You mean there are more?
Wait. You're never gonna believe this, but Algared would. I went through our show off your ship, show off your fleet thread, and I got up over $550,000 worth of ships and had to stop because there were still an equal number of ships to count. Okay? For the people in my group. Okay?
I was at a Bar Citizen in Sydney once, and there were 4 of us, and we had over $200,000 in ships.
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy. There's well over $1 million worth of ships in my org.
Algared knows what I'm going to say. Algared, don't say it out loud, obviously, but the single account that you and I have seen, the single bit. Do you remember the amount?
It was lots.
Yeah, let's just say almost $500,000. We'll leave it at that. On a single account. That is nuts. So your Badgers, you're gonna die.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I know a YouTuber friend, and he has 6 accounts. And he would be almost there himself as well, but he's got it separated over multiple accounts.
Once you've got one of everything, I mean,
dude, there are people with money, and video games are their thing, right? You get women with shoes, you get men with cars, you've got just happens to be men in spaceships this time.
With ships.
Yeah.
Do you know how much an island in Second Life cost?
Lots.
Yeah, so I know there are people in my org that had an island in Second Life. So let's just say that people are committed and love this game, and they spend all their money on ships.
And they just spend their hobby money on it.
Yeah, I haven't broken a big amount of ships, with money I bought, right? With money I invested, but I have a bunch.
Did you hear that? Hook 2005 said he'll hit 100 ships this AIE.
That's a small.
100?
I think I've got like 15 or 16. Actually, some of the extra ones I've got are like little small ones for reviews, like the Vulture and stuff like that. But I've only got like 15.
I say that's a small fleet.
The other thing Chris said way back in the day, I'm going way back to 2014 when I interviewed him and stuff. He said, don't buy more ships. Just get. Actually, what he said, I said, because I said, what about getting new people to join the game? He said, yeah, get new people to join. So the way I'd put it to you, Hook, and anyone else that's a whale, and your group, the enablers and that, and it's the same thing that I'm trying to get done at the moment. I was talking to Jake to see if I could get it organized to get, because you know how they've limited the number of packs you can buy for the cutter. I was to get 8 of them so we could give them away, right? And basically that's for me, I think is where like if I had more money than sense, not saying that you guys do, but you do.
That's true, I do.
But I'd be buying new ships for other people. I actually think what they need is a permanent LTI ship, like the cutter pack with the game and how it is. I'd almost leave that in the store indefinitely, because you could then turn around and basically the only time it can be purchased though is singularly on one account that is new, and that way but it has an option to gift that account to someone. If they set that up, that's where I'd be funding my money. More people we bring into this, the healthier the game becomes, does it not? That's just my analogy there, and because at some point you'd agree with me on this, Algared, there's a tipping point where you've bought every ship in the game. Why do you need more?
And it's true. I struggle with that. The ships I want and the ships I look at, and I go, I want it, and I go, but I don't really want to spend more because I've got so much spent already. Sandy's comment to me rings in my ears.
Sorry, I'm reading what Eduardo in chat just said. He goes, "I'm not a whale. I'm a salmon. He's only spent 3K."
Whales and dolphins.
Yeah.
Right. Whales and
dolphin.
dolphins.
There you go. You're a dolphin, and
whales and dolphins.
Yeah.
So I want to say that you two, Algared, and actually, who else was on that show with us? But it was you two the one that I did, the first one I did with Inforunners. Was it just us three? I think it was.
Well, I think
it was just us.
Oh, Paul. Oh,
Paul,
God,
Paul.
yes.
Yeah,
Asper Pub. Love him. Yeah.
Paul.
Well, because he hasn't been around for a while and I miss him. And anyway, you guys made me look at my fleet, and I have been dying to come on for that because I have a bunch of junk I'm never going to touch. And it's one of those things like, what do I want? Where do I go with those? Right?
Yeah.
And I think that
how up for it are you showing everything that's in your account?
I'll do it. The only thing that I have is one package that's owned by the enablers.
So what I'm thinking is, do you want to do it live one time? We'll do it live.
Sure.
Badgers, I know you're not really into that stuff, but would you come along to be a counterbalance?
And I have a Perseus already.
Yeah. You can't say no now. She's got a Perseus.
Sorry, I missed that because I was too busy laughing. Phased Kitten's comment, I hit Grand Admiral yesterday, got flagged as potentially violent. What if the Grand Admiral deserved it? I mean, yeah. So
what Batgirl was saying was, we were talking about doing a fix my fleet for her fleet, and I was suggesting, what if we did it on live, like for one of these Friday live streams, because we're coming up to another lull period, obviously, across the Christmas and January, February time period. So somewhere in there, we will do it a fix my fleet with Batgirl as a live stream, and just as a counterpoint, because a lot of people tend to think Algared and I they don't like our methods. Would you consider coming along? Because you oppose some of the stuff we do sometimes, don't you? So my whole thought was, what if you come in and counterpoint it? Just as how we like differing opinions here, so we can actually hear your opinions.
This isn't the equivalent of like pushing me in the deep end. This is the equivalent of taking me to the top of the 20-meter board. And
you're my life
this is Spartaing me over the edge of the diving board. Like, oh,
I think
you don't have to come if you don't want.
My life preserver.
Yeah. So I'm actually maybe saying, are you the voice of reason? Is what I'm asking. So when people call me and Algared crazy, would you like to come along and say, well, no, because I don't think you tell me, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you actually been there when we've done a Fix My Fleet? I don't think you have.
I've watched the ones that you've done, but never live. I've never watched you do them.
And I think you would learn a lot. because it's not as black and white as it appears, right? And you would have heard Algared say something, or myself say, we've done ones that take 5 or 6 hours and then literally, 30 minutes of recording. And that is how they are. And if her fleet is as big as she's telling us it is...
It could be a long while.
How big is it roughly? How many ships, roughly?
Like, it's less than 10K.
Okay, that's not so bad. That's not so bad.
What? What?
Fuck! I feel like I'm obviously, like, everyone else is like, ship citizen. There's me, ghetto citizen. The most expensive ship in my fucking fleet, excuse the language, I'm not swearing at anyone in particular, was crowdfunded by the lovely people in chat. Like, oh my god,
we had to bring in you the fold somehow, Badgers. Like, you weren't going to do it yourself, so we had,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The whole reason I went,
and he was holding off getting it.
So it's only 8K.
The whole reason I went content creator was hoping CIG would give me all the ships, because that's the only way that's ever going to happen.
Sandy is my friend. I got one ship, and it wasn't even from her.
Yeah. That's just.
Sandy, so I mean, they don't just give things. You got to be people that are aren't even in the community for more than 48 hours. They get shipped.
I think the only person we've really seen that's been given a ship that I'm aware of like that is Paul with the Redeemer, and it's because he didn't want it. He
didn't want it.
So maybe my approach to the 890 jump of like, people say I hate it. Maybe and I'm kind of saying I shouldn't hate it. Maybe I should just go down this path and say I hate it, and they'll give me one. But it's just weird to me that they gave him a ship that he hates, but I also love it at the same time because it's such an Aussie thing to do. So
I got an Arrow starter pack in 2014 for being a gopher.
Oh no, yes, we got those.
That was the only ship I've been given.
No, you got a scythe. 2 of them.
I got a Herald.
1.
Oh, you only got 1. But you still got a scythe. Like, come on, it's a scythe.
Like,
I got a Herald and a Valkyrie. From running the line at.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on, Badgers.
Just so you guys know, there's a bit of lag between everyone because we are doing literally 4 corners of the globe today. So if you're wondering why there's so much overtalk, and also we don't normally do 4 people because more people, more discussion. Sorry, who was talking? Sorry,
Badgers.
Yeah. Something you said earlier when we were talking about people who put so much money into the game, I'm with you. Like, up until I found Star Citizen, my vice was Warhammer, which is tabletop plastic, and they call it plastic crack. And I worked for the company for 2 years. I've spent so much money on it. So I completely get it. But every so often, there's a voice in the back of my head that goes, it's just a computer game. And if someone had suggested to me before I'd encountered Star Citizen that we would be talking about £10,000 or whatever the currency is on a ship, like, my head would have actually exploded.
Yeah.
And I completely get it. Now I'm here because, like you guys, like I say, my thing is not how much money it is. My question is, can I afford it? Yes, no. That's the only thing. If I can afford it and I want it, I'm getting it. That's how hobbies work, right?
You got to remember, in the beginning, there were no rentals. There were no.
Just real quick, this is Sight. This is his sister that just turned up. That's why he left. So yeah, she is the complete opposite of him. Okay. No, she is. She is just pats from anyone. She's the complete opposite, aren't you, darling? But she's a super cutie. Anyway, sorry, you were saying, Batgirl.
I forget. No,
sorry.
In the
were saying it. Yeah.
No, I know. In the beginning, there was no way to get these ships, and you couldn't expect CIG to give you anything because they didn't have that as part of their. I don't know, whatever you want to say, their community program to get content creators these ships. And like, I got ships to give away, but I never got ships for myself.
Yep.
Because in the US, that is a gift that I have to claim.
Yep.
So big difference. So I had to buy the ships, and a lot of them came from the money that I was at that point generating from Patreon and from the show. you have to have these ships to review, to show, and my whole channel started by comparing the 325A to the Avenger. That was the big thing, because those were the two big ships that were sitting in the hangar and doing nothing. So over time, I accumulated a ton of these little tiny ships and cars and paints, and it's like looking in my closet filled with shoes right now. It's just a bunch of things I don't use that I need to get rid of,
Yeah.
So the way I kind of do that is I just have a pool of credits. I buy them when they come out, review them, and then melt them. Me and Algared have, well, I guess I can include Badgers in that as well. We've never been getting anything from CIG. And one of the things I've learned is they...
Well, not as streamers.
Yeah, but... Yeah, you get what I mean.
I know, but we had to work for those, Algared.
I agree. No, I'm not...
I worked 20 hours in one day at
not denying what you got. What I'm trying to say is a lot of Twitch people get stuff, but they have actually kind of said, like I've talked to a few people, they don't have enough staff to do Twitch and YouTube. So eventually, when they get some more community managers, then maybe they'll bring YouTube into the fold. We'll see what happens. But I don't do what I do for CIG. I do it for, hey, don't do that to your brother. I do it for, for the community, and I started out for myself. Like I wanted more ships because I was kind of in a similar situation to Badgers, where I just wanted to there were certain ships that I wanted and I couldn't afford them. And I was telling this to Badgers the other day. I literally, there was a 3-month period where I just basically lived on $60 a week, $60 a fortnight, sorry, which is nothing if you know how that works in Australia. Is absolutely nothing, just so I could get enough to buy an Orion and a Reclaimer. And I got there, and I was really, really happy with that. And then everything else has just come from building the YouTube channel, and that doesn't come from CIG. That comes from the YouTube videos. That comes from the Patreon and stuff like that. But most of the Patreon stuff, I pretty much, I'm going to tell you, goes straight to gear and stuff like that. But yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I know we're kind of off the questions a second, but I think this is interesting. Thought is the first ship I went, I think I got the Avenger Titan. I got the Aurora, went up to the Avenger Titan because I wanted to experience more of the interior of ships and stuff like that, and being able to shift stuff around. The only reason I went up from there, and I went from there straight to the Connie, was basically I was aware of the fact that, this was in 2016. I think they just put the modules in, or you could fly. It might have even been 2017. But effectively, I backed because I'm aware that as a kickstarted crowdfunded project, success and completion isn't certain, especially not back then. So I actually bought into it because I was like, hey, if this goes away and doesn't become a thing, I at least want to. And at the time, the Connie was it for me. I want to experience flying a Connie around. And that's where I started investing money, and then it just fucking went downhill from there. But yeah,
it comes back to that. That's something we haven't heard for a while, and I think I think we can probably all talk to this. But it started out for me as a dream. The way it was pitched to me is, this is a dream. I have this game I want to make, and it's this dream. And you go back and look at the stuff he's done before, like Freelancer, Wing Commander, all that type of stuff. You can tell he's been essentially trying to make the same game the whole time, but people keep cutting him off. And this is, I bet you now, if we sat Chris down and he was in this room, and maybe Nikki, you could ask him next time you chat with him, is that
Not ever.
Sorry? No, but you know what I mean.
No, that's fine.
Well, Algared can do it too. You can both ask through Sandy. Say, is this essentially the same game you've been trying to make, and now because you've got the money and funds that you need, do you finally see the light at the end of the tunnel? And I'd love to know his answer, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think he's ecstatic that he's finally getting to make the game he always wanted to make. And I know I'd be ecstatic if that was my dream coming true. And I think we can all put in and say that we all now share that dream. I think that's why we've invested so much damn money, because this is just unlike any other game. And there's a reason why I only cover Star Citizen. Like, I've been asked a few times, like, why don't I talk about other games? Because I've got a game development background, and this could be a massively huge channel that I basically just talk about every game under the sun. I could do that. In fact, my brother is a game reviewer, right? And I will get him on here eventually at some point, and we will talk about Star Citizen. And you reckon I'm funny? And I know you guys don't think I'm funny, but my funny comes from him. He's the funny person in the family. Yet I was the one that was a comedian, and he wasn't. He got a family and all that. But anyway, I'm getting off.
That's not fair. It's not that we think you're not funny, so we know you're not funny.
There we go. Yeah.
One thing that you're saying there about, is this the game that he wants to make? And we know that the game that he wanted to make had karate in it, karate. So he couldn't get that. He couldn't buy it from them. So he brought those people over here. So you have Mark Hamill and you have John Rice Davies. This is the game he wants to make. You know that. This is what his vision is. And each day we get closer and closer to it. New people just don't see it because they weren't here when they saw him talk about that dream that he had.
Yeah, I think in regards to that Kilrathi stuff, he would love to buy that license, but I bet you EA has just set it way too high for what it's worth.
It's all right. When Apple buys EA, it will all be over.
Man, I know you joke about that, and we've gone like 4 tangents off the deep end now, but I actually do think they're up for sale real soon. Just with the way the tides are turning, but we'll see. Algared, you were going to say, sorry?
I was going to say, for me, getting into the game, for me, it was a Connie. Very similar reasons to Badgers. I wanted to be, this was a game where you could actually walk around your ship as it was being envisaged. I like the idea of it being multi-crew and being able to play with my friends. I like the idea of going out in space and exploring like Star Trek. That was
what is space?
What I first thought of Connie as. But what really sold me on the game, which goes back to that dream, was Chris Roberts in the little Hornet saying, "Hi, I'm Chris Roberts." And for me, I just hear Troy McClure from Simpsons. "Hi, I'm Chris Roberts. You might remember me from such games as..." And that was it. I was hooked. I was done. I knew the games he was talking about. I knew, and it was like, yeah, I'm in. Here's my money. So for me, that was it. It was taking on that dream, and unfortunately for me, it also came at a time when I was craving a space game, and so boom, 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 all the dots aligned, and
that's the crazy thing, Algared, isn't it? Too, there was no space games, and now they're freaking everywhere. I think it showed that there was a real demand, and the other thing is, you go back and watch the original Kickstarter video, they were talking about the death of the PC game, and that consoles were the future and all that. And the funny, ironic thing is, if you now watch the trend over that time, every time publishers or so-called developers talk about, and when I say so-called, they use the developer as the talking head, but they don't agree with it. They're like us. PCs were always the way. They basically said that everything they talk about is what they want to happen. Like, they wanted loot boxes to be a thing, and then they tried to change it to, like, when they were in the courts and stuff, they were changing it to surprise mechanics and all that, like all this type of stuff, because they want it. Because at the end of the day, they're after money. That's the difference between a publisher model and what I would originally have called this project was a passion model, right, or a crowdfunding model. I prefer the passion model because it puts more control in our hands. If we hate the game, we don't back it. If we like the game, we back it. And that's another reason why we're seeing so much money come into this game, because it's just getting better and better and better and better. And that dream is becoming a reality. And as we keep seeing that progress go forward, I'm happy to keep putting money in. And I think a lot of people are. But by the same token, as kind of Badgers learned, you don't need to put money in, right? And for me, it gets to a point where you get to a tipping point. For me now, I think there's very few ships left that I could even want. And for me, if we were doing giveaways on this channel, I think we learned that from the polls we've done here. Would be more inclined to give away those starter ships to bring more people in. And I think that from what the community voted on, I'd have to assume everyone agrees with us. Or what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done that on my show before, and that's always the way to go.
Yeah.
Don't give out the big ships. Don't give out the mid ships. Give out the ones that are $40 because it gets somebody new into the game.
Yep.
To go back to
Hey,
talking about the Chris Roberts.
hey, that's very nice.
One of the things that really also helped sell me on the game is when I was doing the PAX Australia Gopher type thing, was seeing Chris and Sandy, interacting with them there, but also seeing them behind the scenes interacting with each other. And what you saw when they interacted with each other was no different from how they interacted with the people helping, was no different from how you saw them reacting with the team, and it was no different from how you saw them reacting on stage. And so what you saw was a genuineness, which you don't always see. And that was another tip that said, yep. So for me, that was it.
I was going to ask real quick, like with all the stuff that went down with Sandy, and how she got kind of a lot of backlash and stuff, I never agreed with any of that because of the way I knew her and the time I'd spent talking to her. And I bet you Batgirl and yourself can talk to that as well. And she is just a genuine Aussie. That's one of the reasons I like her so much, because she's one of my kin. Yep. I can just tell when you talk to her, she's an Aussie. And even when we interviewed her recently, we talked about that, didn't we? We asked her things like, are there things that the kids have picked up that are Aussie colloquialisms and stuff like that? And she said that was a thing. So yeah, why are you moving all the time, darling?
So
sorry,
we've kind of mentioned, I think, the why we bought ships, and Algared's kind of straight into this territory.
What was that for, darling?
But it might be a little bit fun if we all.
Yeah.
What was it exactly that hooked you on this project? What was it that you looked at and went, this isn't just another Kickstarter, this is going to be significant? Sorry?
Is this our lead out? I'm just saying this might make sense to you. I have Yorkshire puddings and a lamb and lots of food beyond that, Brussels sprouts and all sorts of things to eat.
Yep.
Because it's Thanksgiving and she wants to go munch.
Yeah,
I'm just going to Batgirl's house for food.
Yes. You are welcome. Get on the plane. No, I mean,
might be cold by the time we get there.
Thanksgiving.
I want to answer this first because
go for it.
I mean,
please do.
Because I talk about this all the time. Like I saw the video by Scott Manley that was like from Wing Commander to Star Citizen, whatever it was, and I'm like, oh freak, what the hell is Chris doing? Does he want to be Elon Musk? And then I watched it again, and it was the sizzle reel that they released, that first one, but that wasn't it, right? So there was that 2013 Gamescom, and I watched all the videos for that, and I'm like, whatever, I'll buy an Aurora. Whatever, I'll buy an Aurora. And I have to say this, that it's kind of like that first hit of heroin, which I've never had, but, we've all watched the movies.
Yep.
When that hangar module went live, and even then, without PBR, without anything else, when I sat in that ship and lied in its bed and went in the hangar, I got a chill because it was exactly what he was talking about making forever. And then I truly believed it. What kept me in it was the Rear Admiral package when I bought that Constellation. That is still today, I still own that because that was the one that freaking nailed it. It put that final straw on the camel's back. I have been in since then.
Yep. Actually, Algared, didn't you have one of those Rear Admiral packs where you could spend some time with Chris and you? Was it you or was it Hayes?
No, I think it may have been Hayes.
So one of our friends had.
Dyson.
Oh, was it you had one as well, Batgirl? Yeah.
Yeah, but he did come over to my house for a lamb dinner.
Oh, that's close enough. That's close enough. And didn't you say he spent all the? Didn't you say
he gave up a date with Nicole Kidman for that?
Didn't you say that he spent all the time playing video games though? Somewhere.
Well, arcade machines, and I'm gonna say this again. Sandy is my personal friend, has nothing to do with Star Citizen, so that's great. And I had my night with with Sandy, and my bestie went downstairs and played on our main machine, which has every arcade game ever made, and they played Gauntlet all night.
Yeah. That sounds like a good night to me. Do you know you scratched out for the
Absolutely.
first time ever?
Yep.
It's the first time ever. I wonder. It's because I was trying to force her to
I'll
move.
get to talk to Chris and know he's going playing Gauntlet. Yep.
I don't have an in to Chris. You know that. There is no in. I could talk to Sandy, but we don't talk about the game.
She got me good. Look.
Yeah, she did.
It's the first time she's ever swiped at me, but it was because I was trying to get her to move, and she didn't want to move. You big sookie bum.
Do we need a tier 1, 2, or 3 bed?
Yeah, at least a 14, I think, at this point, but yeah. All right, then, I think we'll wrap it up here because we are way past the 3-hour mark, and I did say 3 hours to Batgirl. Thank you very much for joining us. You did give me an idea. I'm going to reach out to Scott Manley. I think we're going to have to get Scott Manley on one of these one day and pick his brain as well.
You really do. He works for Apple also.
Oh, God. All right, we can't have him here then because if you two are ganging up...
He works on Siri.
Yeah, I bet you he does. Anyway, you said it. Don't give me comedy gold or I'll work with it. Yeah. Anyway, all right, darling, you get down. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll get on to the RSI day. I'm really looking forward to that now. We'll have an impressions video for that. We'll definitely get you back to do Fix My Fleet. It's been really great having you, and you're more than welcome anytime to come join us. Algared, is there anything you would like to say, or Badgers, or Batgirl? Comments, anything like that you would like to hear?
I was just going to say, like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave comments, be respectful. We read every comment. We don't always respond, but we do read them. If you like going the extra mile, there's Patreon, there's YouTube, and there's the other stuff. So yeah.
Wait, is AstroPub live for a change? Oh, he rated us. Wow. Hey, Paul. Didn't even notice, Paul. 1 minute ago. Thanks, Paul. It's usually the other way around. Thank you for the raid, Paul. What were you doing, buddy? You going to tell me? No, he's probably going to tell me. He didn't say anything. He just dumped and left. Yeah, that sounds like Paul.
Dumped and left.
Yeah.
He's probably going to eat dinner soon.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Wants to do. Go and eat dinner.
All right, well, let's do that.
I want to say thank you to everyone that actually donated their subscriptions today because that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
It's not required. We definitely don't require it, but thank you very much.
It gets called white knighting too much. So go nuts. Use a stream. Safe space. Yeah. Tell us, what was it that hooked you? Just unbridled. What was it that got you into this project? What was it that you went, this is something special? If you don't have one, that's cool too. But yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, love to hear that.
All right. For me personally, I also want to hear a little bit about the Galaxy. As we said, we did a poll on it, see what you're going to buy and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just trying to see who is live, but I'm having a lot of trouble. Hang on, bear with me. So, is there any suggestions for rating? What do we got? Who's up there? So we've got. We want someone smaller, someone larger. Yeah, we could raid someone French. That would be funny. Wouldn't know what they're saying.
One small.
Okay. English. Actually, I think we're the highest English stream at the moment. I could be wrong.
That's because all the Americans are.
Pappy's still here?
Oh, no. No, Maya's streaming.
Hey, Pappy. He's still here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Amaya?
Amaya? Is anyone who's that? Amaya? As in Maya? We'll stream Maya. So he's one of your fellow Brits, isn't he, Badgers?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll raid Maya. We haven't raided Maya, I think, we've been on him, but he has been on the show before. So everyone on Twitch, thank you for joining us. And say hello.
Logan's live as well.
Yep. Oh, shush. Can I cancel it? Oh, is he playing? What's Logan playing? Is he playing Star Citizen?
Star Citizen.
Oh, we'll raid Logan then. We have to raid Logan.
Although he's AFK at the minute.
That makes it even funnier. Make sure you break Logan's follow button, and tell him hello from us, and we'll raid mine next time. But yeah. With that, Starjump end up, there's so many people we could raid. We're just going to make a list and we'll go through everyone and add people as we go through.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right, everyone on Twitch, thank you for joining us. Everyone say goodbye. YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch. Thanks for having us. We'll see you guys next time. All right, they're off and on their way. As for you on YouTube, we will be doing MISC tomorrow and RSI the day after that. And we're also going to try what we did today where we did the reaction video. So we're going to put up a reaction video and just see if you guys like that. I don't know if it'll be a thing. It was a complete test bed, so we'll see how that goes as well. All right, I'm going to turn off this camera because I'm sick of sucking my gut in. I've got to suck it in. So, yeah, it's like a weight cam. All of a sudden, not a cat cam, but... Anyway, all right. With that, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time. She's been Batgirl, he's been Badgers, he's been Algared, and I've been Execute.